Welcome to something to talk about. Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco. This is our Haunted Castles live stream. And no, I will not keep this hood up very long. Let's see if I can get through introducing everybody. Then I'm going to take the hood down. But I want you guys to see it's a Charizard and not just a weird orange onesie. And if you are wondering if there's a butt flap, wait until the end of the video and I will answer that. All right, we're going to bring on our first guest all the way from the internet. Some random guy. We got random internet guy. Holy crap! How you doing?
Hey! How's it going, everybody?
Been a minute, bro.
Good to see Nick Grimes in the chat. Always nice to see you, Nick. Yeah, no, it has been a minute. I've had a very widespread year in terms of shit I'm trying to take care of, and so I've been a little sparse in the Ice and Fire community. But it's going to be cool to talk about some castles, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited to finally get like somebody else besides Michael talks about stuff on here. Get clear the
I'm honestly, is he coming on tonight? I'm sad I've missed him in prior streams because he was fun to talk to earlier.
I love that. I love that, man. But no, he's got stuff going on, but I promised him I would make fun of him behind his back. And also, we got if Random's the guy we haven't had for a while. I am not a Digimon. I am a Pokemon. Proud Pokemon, by the way. We got somebody who's going to be on for the first time. And that is Viper. How you doing?
Hello. Hey. I'm doing, you know, my costume today is I'm a dying student. I'm a ghost because midterms are killing me.
There you go. Been there before. I was broke and bad at school before midterms. I'd be lucky to even show up for midterms, man. Mm-hmm. But let's keep going. We got a back for from Positive Demand back because of Positive Demand. We have the man on his boat. We have a moon man on his boat who's actually Moon Boy from King's Landing, grown up and bought a boat. What's up, Moon Man?
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy Halloween, everybody. Trick or treat. Glad to be back.
Happy Halloween indeed.
I'm good. All right, I'm taking the hood down, man. It's too hot. Plus, I got a haircut.
I don't know if I've met you guys.
Random Viper, have you met Moon Man?
Not yet. No, this is actually my first time.
Yeah, I don't think we've met Moon Man.
Okay.
Are you for Halloween? Are you a low energy guy on a boat?
That's me, man.
I love Moon Man. He's famous for showing up out of nowhere with extremely well done Stannis Baratheon videos and just blowing up.
I know, incredible, absolutely incredible videos.
Oh, thanks, guys. That's very sweet. I love. Mr. Random Guy, Mr. Guy, Mr. Random. I am a big admirer of your work.
Oh, thank you. I guess I've been telling Taco earlier. I've been kind of sparse because this year I've been spread very thin with stuff I'm trying to do, so I haven't had much Ice and Fire time. But I'm always happy to hear people like my ideas. I have a lot of fun. That's definitely fun.
I like your ideas.
It's fun to read the theories, and it's fun to read the series, and it's fun to talk about that sort of stuff. It's a good time. It's a good fiction fantasy outlet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so new to like I just read the books a couple of years ago and a year and a half ago, I don't know. So I'm still like catching up on all of YouTube's back catalog of theory and analysis content.
Yeah.
On Ice and Fire. I'm finding new channels all the time have been around and are big that I'm still discovering. I only found your channel, I don't know, in the last 6-7 months, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's longer than that. But so there's still tons. There's even videos of yours I haven't seen. I've probably seen them most of them though. But yeah.
I think that's so cool because I think that's probably part of what made your videos so good was that you were fresh to the series and you didn't really have like the pre-existing theory culture exposure.
Yeah, not at all.
So I thought some of your ideas were just amazing, and I was like, oh, these are wonderful ideas, and they mesh so well with so many of the theory ideas that I already liked. You know, so I mean, it's like I think having that new perspective is really great. It's what's
I
fun about
feel
the
like-
series is people can always come who've never been exposed, and you know, you can think of ideas and bring new talking points, and it's kind of an ever evolving sort of little culture around the series.
I feel like, you know, it's projecting from how I got into the fandom, but you know, you kind of always assume people got into the books halfway through the show, and like, you know, they first followed out shift acts with like R plus L equals J, and then just kind of started eating from there. But like, it is really cool about all the different ways that people have kind of came into the community and how long ago. And, you know, you'll run into people who like, you run into Reddit posts from 15 years ago, and you're like, how?
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, I'm like, wait, somebody thought, you know, whatever, I'm gonna make one up, but like Shearer Seastar was Danny's fetus like 10 years ago. Holy crap! Like, but anyways, if we're done telling Moonman how great he is, which I've already spent a whole stream doing that, I'm over it. I don't even like him anymore.
I'm here for it.
Let's talk about castles. So I have no order that we can do these, and I got 9 to cover. Before we move on, I should have said this right away. Go ahead, chat all you guys want, but if you have a question you specifically want us to answer, I will put up some stuff, but I won't always catch anything. So if you do a super chat, I will see it, and I will definitely put it up. And if you have any questions, go ahead and send it through super chat. And if you want to donate money without using super chat and you want it 100% to go to me, check out the PayPal in the description. And there you guys go. Let's actually get into it. Anywhere specifically, or should I just click one?
I feel like an apt place to start would be Harrenhal, personally.
I think that is very apt. Thank you, Viber.
Big bite.
All right. I'll read this one. I'll probably read them all actually.
Oh.
The granddaddy of haunted castles in Westeros. It's got Heron's ghost always killing people, right? And then you have old god stuff, not to mention all the Mad Danelle locks and crazy stuff. After her time, like misbehaving children were told that that on a moonless night, giant bats will fly down the Harrenhal and take them back to Mad Danelle so she could eat them in her cook pots. That's some crazy haunted stuff. Harrenhal's got it all. It's got the ghost of Harren, right? Like when Arya uses Jaqen to kill people off, no one thinks it's murder because it's Harrenhal. Whenever it's like, oh, somebody fell, they're like, the ghost got him again. Anyways, what are we doing for dinner? Like, nobody cares.
Yeah. They just assume people just die. Yeah, it's Harrenhal, you know.
It's Harrenhal, dude. Shit happens, man. It'd be like that sometimes. It's Harrenhal. What do you guys think of Harrenhal? Anything we want to do? And hi, Christy.
Definitely an interesting location. I don't know. You guys probably know Fantasy Haven from the Discord or from the videos and
Absolutely.
stuff. So I did a Harrenhal piece for him about the
fun.
Lost Ends and stuff. And so yeah, I had to look it up for quite a while. It just the trajectory of families it passes through. It's a pretty interesting castle. But yeah, the thought of the Danelle ghosts, and then I would imagine, you know, the victims, you know, there's probably the ghosts of the victims, but that's only if you believe the rumors, you know, if you think it was all a plot against Danelle and she didn't actually do any of it.
I think Mad Danelle has to have done a little bit. I think that she definitely wasn't flying around on giant bats, and I don't know if she was bathing in virgin blood, but I think that she had to have been more than just a powerful woman. I think that she had to have done some creepy crap.
Yeah, what happened? What happened there at the castle? It's interesting to wonder, right?
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to find out. And also, there is just the trope in both our real history and in the history of Westeros that whenever there is a powerful woman, like next thing you know, everyone's like, she's bathing in virgin blood. She's evil, because we don't like it, you know, because the patriarchy doesn't like it when there's a powerful lady.
So really quick, do you guys did any of you play the Diablo series of games?
I played 2 a lot, but this was back in my smoking weed and playing Diablo days. So
so the Countess, right? The Countess is actually in the same lineage as Danelle, and they're both based off real things. There's 2 characters that I think are their primary basis that I are kind of for sure.
One's gotta be Elizabeth Bathory, right?
One's Elizabeth Bathory. And the other is, I'm forgetting how you pronounce his name, but there was a guy who he's portrayed as wearing this really awesome suit of black armor and the painting that's done about him. and he was a friend of Joan of Arc, I guess, and he
Oh.
was also accused of basically the exact same crimes as Danelle Lawston.
Oh,
And
cool.
historians think it was like a church, not church plot, like a plot by other nobles to steal his land, and they used like church reasoning, basically, the idea of he's a blasphemer and stuff to kind of legitimize it. But yeah, kind of interesting, fun parallels where George was grabbing from real times, where and that's where I honestly I think that painting is that depiction and that description of this guy is where the Lawston suit of armor comes from in the book. So
Possibly.
she has a really bitchin' suit of black armor.
I thought that was kind of Bram Stoker Dracula of Dracula having beautiful black
That could
armor.
be that too. Like I said,
So-
yeah, there's a lot of really powerful elements of horror and or
Yeah.
real world suspected murder and horror.
Well,
that
I
goes
literally
through
did
Lawston's.
my Halloween video that came out this morning was which characters are the Dracula of the series, because George takes inspiration from Universal Monsters a lot.
As a side note,
Yeah.
Ramsay Bolton's armor, the muscle armor,
the red armor with
Yeah.
skulls on
So-
it. Yeah.
So I
From the greatest movie ever
feel
made.
like that's got to be from the Dracula movie
from
like, the 90s,
Francis
right?
Ford Coppola's Dracula.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, when he has the armor, it's,
Yeah,
like, it's
it looks
literally
just
the
like that.
exact same
Yeah.
armor. I'm like, he must have seen that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Oh no, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, no, it
absolutely.
has to be. It looks just like it.
yeah. Look,
Also,
which also, by the way, sick ass reference. Like, what a dope reference.
well, and that's what I was saying. So I did a video today just because I've noticed of how many characters were Dracula-ish, like Bruce, the Boltons, and then of course Bloodraven, like, is very Dracula, and then Maginellos and even Magor the Cruel. So I put out a video just for that today, and Harrenhal, like, if that doesn't come off as like a Transylvania, like, haunted castle.
Yeah.
Like, come on, it is like the haunted castle. Also, whenever somebody wants, I downloaded a lot of extra videos, video clips today. So I am loaded to play fun video clips. I can give you a little taste. But
Okay.
if people ask really nicely, I have a lot of Matthew Lillard, specifically from Scream, that just play out of nowhere. And then I thought somebody else was going to show up, I got something for him. But I'm going to just give you guys a little taste. And then whenever you want a clip, let me know. And if anybody outside of these three people want one, either ask me in a stream, either ask me in a super chat, or just ask really nicely. Here's the first one.
Wow. What a hole.
I thought I was gonna break Moon Man. So wow, what a hole!
I'm
No.
picturing tiny Daniel Stern looking up at you.
Yeah, that's it. I got more Daniel Stern.
You
Too.
had enough pain?
Lovely.
No, I got Daniel Stern, Matthew Lillard. What do you want, Moon Man? I can go. What's up?
Yeah, bring it on, man.
All right. Well, I just wanted to get. I also kind of thought of I wanted to get some horror stuff, so that's why I loaded up with a lot of horror stuff today, because I know about you guys, but I get in on horror movies during Halloween. I always do, but specifically, I watched like 4 today. So, all right, one another haunted house, or you guys got something else you want to bring up? About Harrenhal?
There's got to be more to say about Harrenhal, right? Like,
yeah, I have
Yeah.
another horror question
Let's
if
do
you
it.
guys want to take a stab at answering something for me. So,
Sure.
Harrenhal burns pretty thoroughly, right?
Yeah, mostly.
But
Mhm.
it's raftered like and supported structurally with a ton of weirwood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think it all burns? And then what happens to the children's souls?
Well, you don't think that it being chopped down wouldn't have already disconnected it from the weirwood net?
So the interesting thing about that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about House of the Dragon for a second, so it might not be related to, I guess, book canon, but at least in a couple of scenes in House of the Dragon Season 2,
Gotcha.
I've noticed that, like, there were shots of when Damon's, like, walking through Harrenhal. We see, like, what appears to be, like, weirwood roots that are, like,
Yeah.
growing in and around the stones and whatever. So, and they look pretty alive.
Yeah, but you don't think that they came in afterwards? Because that is 130 years after the place is burned. I mean, a lot can happen in 130 years.
Yeah.
A giant weirwood grove literally being right outside the walls, kind of moving its way in, kind of.
Okay. Well,
Almost like old gods reclaiming the land.
yeah.
I think
because you would
there
think
is
that
a
they
real
couldn't have been in there when it burned, or else they would have burned.
Well,
yeah, so
I
see
think
what Christy Angel says, the children of forest souls are all in the beams. So that's one way to think of it, and that's like that would be an explanation of why people get haunted by voices in the castle. So the question is like Taco said, like, does that happen? Do the trees retain the souls when they're chopped down? Which I think probably yeah.
No. Well,
What happens when they get burned, though?
I have to argue the validity of old god crap happening in there, just because we've seen it in the show, and all the characters have spent a lot of time in Harrenhal in the books. We never really hear any whispery old goddy stuff. It is mostly
So
it is mostly fake haunted.
Yeah, you're not
right?
you're not a believer in the trees retaining souls.
Well, no, I'm a believer in canon, and we just have not seen that in the books. We've seen it in House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And in literally everything that Daemon does in Harrenhal in House of Dragon is not in the books. Like literally completely. Yeah. He doesn't even talk to, they say it is not even known if he talks to Alice Rivers. Yeah. Like it goes, Alice Rivers is in Aemon's time there later on. And it straight up goes, we know Alice Rivers is there, but we don't know if Daemon even talks to her. And then they make his entire season him talking to her. So yeah. We've never heard, like, no one has weirwood dreams in there. Arya never has a weirwood dream. She has wolves dreams, but no weirwood dreams in there. She doesn't have any weird, crazy, blood raveny crap going on while she's there. As far as we know, non-scary stuff is killing people. Jack and Hagar, who's not a supernatural thing, they're being blamed.
She has a tree moment with Jack and Hagar that I thought was on a weirwood tree, and I would consider wolf dreams weirwood dreams, because I'm like,
but she can have them anywhere, not just
her.
That's my argument. Sorry.
So you're saying definitively there's no weirwood magic in the trees once they're chopped.
No. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we have no evidence that there is any weirwoody supernatural, specifically old god supernatural stuff going on in Harrenhal, because all the POV characters that we have there haven't witnessed it. Okay. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm saying we haven't seen it. We have no evidence of it.
Yeah. Well, so, that's what I meant. Like when the trees are chopped and put into Harrenhal, you're they're not retaining any powers, or you're just saying they're just not manifesting any powers. We're they could be retaining them, but they're not making anything.
Or we're not seeing it. They're not messing with Arya. But also, one would think that you need to still be planted and being part of the weirwood network of being planted in the earth with roots going deep into the earth, all wrapping up and all going back, projecting back through time, back to Bloodraven, or not even back to, but you know what I mean. Like,
there's got to be some connection.
You need to be, it's a cord phone.
It's got to be
alive. It's not a cordless phone,
and somehow to hold the souls.
Well,
I would guess,
as someone who doesn't believe in canon,
all right.
I would say, like, I don't exactly recall all the reasons that I think this, but it does. I do have in my mind that I do suspect that the consciousnesses or souls or whatever that are in the trees when they're cut up for lumber do remain there, but there's no reason. I think there are reasons to think that, but there's not necessarily reason. We don't have to assume that it's the same as being in a living tree, that it is going to manifest all the same properties, or that it doesn't change over time. As I mean, the singers even say stuff about, like, going into the rocks, right? So, like, and also I would say, as to, like, whether anyone has anything that could be attributed to as, like, tree dreams in Harrenhal, I mean, there are living weirwoods all over that aren't necessarily reaching out and giving people dreams either.
Yes,
until they do. until they do. You know.
But if you were sleeping, the only one time we know of one sleeping straight up on a weirwood stump is Jamie, and he has one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like physically on like the stump. The weirwood is his pillow. Like that's pretty.
But there's a lot of people in Harrenhal. I mean, you know, they all getting dreams every night. I mean, the other part of the question is, you know, what remains of the weirwood construction of Harrenhal. And I think there's plenty of reason. I mean, you have to go back and read the various sources on the destruction of, you know, by Aegon, but
it does specifically say wood burns.
Yeah, but
know that some of the wood does burn.
But it's a huge castle.
Huge.
What is highlighted is that he burns heavily the tops of at least several of the towers. But the castle remains. I mean, it's you know, part of the horror of Harrenhal is its size, right? The horror of scale or something like, and it seems like, you know, it's never really repaired, and yet it's available. Obviously, like, it's one thing to like spruce up some of the towers to like live in as your seat as a lord or something, and keep some people living in the lower floors. Like when Arya is there, all the towers are occupied on their lower floors. But one of the most sort of important features of the castle is its massive great hall, which, you know, unless someone went to a lot of expense to completely refurbish, you know, that what would be an enormous roof, then you got to assume that it was just never attacked. It just never burned. So, and that's probably, you know, this is a castle.
Yeah, 100 hearts. Yeah.
And even, you know, so it's a huge castle. So I don't think he has to have, and I don't think it's suggested really that every structure is burned. There would be dozens of structures.
Just large portions of this impressive castle were burned, but they're still huge, intact.
Specifically, the one thing we do know is not that every building burned; it was that every person did. So we know it was enough to roast all. Harren and his entire line died that day, and you don't need to burn an entire building down, especially if the building's made of stone. If you heat up a stone building, everyone inside's gonna die.
Particularly if they all try to go to the same places to hide. Like if they all go to the biggest, tallest towers, and Aegon burns the biggest, tallest towers, and they're all dead, then it's like, it's kind of over for them,
And it's not everybody. It's just it's Harren's family. You know, they're dead. But I don't think. I suspect there's not suggestion of
so what you're
castle.
saying is a lot of the weirwood structure could still be there.
Should still be intact,
Seems pretty likely.
And I 100% don't think that there isn't old gaudy stuff going on, because we do know that Alice River later on does some crazy weird stuff. I'm just saying that we don't have any evidence in the text Arya or Jamie or Brienne are spending chapters there. That's all I got.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to play a Matthew Lillard. And then do we want to move on to a different castle?
No. Yeah, sure. It's up to you.
Okay, one last meaningless thing I will say about Harrenhal is that I was thinking about this the other day, that it's really quite convenient for Aegon's project, in the largest sense of uniting the entire fucking continent together, that Harren built that castle exactly when he did, because it's the only place in Westeros that could serve as anything, as to house anything resembling a parliament for the entire
absolutely.
That's true.
Nobility of the whole continent, which they do. Maybe the first time is 100 years later. I don't recall if there's any other suggestion.
101.
101 would be the first time it was used as like a great.
Okay, maybe it's
that's
not
the
that
first great
convenient,
council.
because it's 100 years before it's used for that purpose that we know of.
But less specifically, no, you hit a nail on the head. Of less specifically, it's the only place that can hold like a parliament, if you will, or a great council. But not only that, but it's the symbol that it's big enough to hold everybody, and I have the biggest castle, and I can throw the biggest tourney, or I can do this. And that is also the place that he shows his strength first. And I do think that there is symbolism on, oh, you just built this giant castle? Well, me and my dragon are going to show this entire continent that homeboy with the most land and the biggest castle is an ant to me. And
It's
that's
like
what
if you
Aegon
did-
does day one.
It's like if you burn the palace at Versailles, and then conversely, it kind of makes me think about Harren the evil, Harren the bastard, Harrenhal, this terrible guy. I wonder if that's kind of what he was going for. Harrenhal, the Versailles of Westeros, was he gonna hoard all the power there, being a crazy, ridiculous, absolutist ruler, and then he was gonna bring all the children of every family.
Are you
and all the
pro-revolution in
people to be
France?
in his giant castle so he could watch over them like reign in terror?
This is some far crazy radical stuff that you're insinuating that that the French Revolution was a good idea.
No, but I think
way
that
pro burn down Versailles.
it is correct though to think of it as this big hub of power, like you were saying. I can host the biggest tournament. I can bring whoever I want here. I have this massive.
It's
show
the
of
idea of
my giant empire is,
the old additive. Of course, this isn't true if you've talked to anyone who actually did time, but that joke of like your first day in prison, you walk up to the biggest dude and punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So you show everybody that you're not afraid. Like Harren did that. He walked up to the biggest dude and burned his castle. He showed his dominance.
Yeah. This figures prominently in my next video, which is the concept of
Parliament of
rethinking Aegon's conquest as less of a conquest ultimately and more a lot of diplomacy driven by political discipline more than anything, which is like, would be a way to describe that demonstration of power. He's really disciplining the political horizons of the continent.
It's a show of strength, but it's also a political maneuver of showing your strength more. It's not about knocking down the guy. It's about showing everybody that you can knock down the guy.
You kind of touch on that in your video, Moon Man, when you say that he did some burning and fucked some shit up, but mostly he accepted a lot of crowns because the petty kings all laid down the crowns. I guess they're not quite petty kings, but the regional kings, all laid down their crowns and said, "Hey, we'll give it over to you in order to save more or less the countryside from being ravaged by war."
Yeah. This is very. I go into this a lot more in part 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
I find it especially funny that Harrenhal got burned like the day it was completed.
That's
that has to suck.
That's what
everyone.
Was it Nick Grimes just did it. They're like, finally, I completed the greatest building constructed in centuries.
Exactly.
For real estate. Thanks for building my summer home, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What? All right.
Aegon immediately rolls up and hold my beer.
First Matthew Lillard, and then we're gonna move on. Let's go with this one. There you go. I don't know if you guys know this, but Matthew Lillard in Scream is my spirit animal. It's like my favorite performance of anybody in any movie because he just eats that scenery the whole movie. All right. You have any suggestions, or should I just pick one?
Just go for it. Just roll the dice.
Yeah.
Well, no, you know what? Viper was like, so what's going on with Red Keep? It's weird to see Red Keep. Let me answer that question, because my video that came out today, which I filmed like September, I filmed really far ahead. I was talking about Maegor the Cruel, and one of the what makes them Dracula, one of the traits is a scary castle. So if you have a scary castle, you get one more point, right? Yeah. And I didn't consider the Red Keep a scary castle.
Why?
I know. I'm now explaining that I effed up. Bloodraven won like hands down on the who's the most Dracula. But I gave the point to Madinel Awesome for Harrenhal, and I gave the point to Roose Bolton for Dreadfort, which is also we'll talk about later.
That tracks.
Yeah, that tracks. But I didn't for Red Keep until I found one specific thing. All right, let's go. I know it's not and not known to be a haunted castle, the Red Keep, but according to crazy old Nan, it has ghosts, terrible dungeons, dragon heads on the wall, and steps leading to hell.
Yeah.
That's something that old Nan said.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Old
Huh.
Nan's
Come
base.
on.
Old Nan's 100% right on that one. I
Oh,
would
dude,
say.
she dropping
That's
truth
very
bombs.
interesting.
And
Well,
that
two
sounds
of
like a
those
giant
things-
concept to me.
2 of those things aren't even exaggerations. Like,
Yeah, they're
No,
it is
no,
terrible
Just there.
Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah,
on the wall.
none of those things are exaggerations if you think of it the right way. But you know,
Okay.
no, I think overwhelmingly that there was more or less all of those things going on in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Steps
because
to
of that,
hell.
Steps to Hell. Let's talk about Steps to Hell. Sorry, I shouldn't have ate a Nerds ball right before I started talking. It's really hard to talk with a Nerds ball in your mouth.
Okay,
that
steps
sounds
to
dirty.
hell.
All right.
Steps to
Clearly,
hell.
there are steps that go down, like so you can get out under the hill, down by the water level.
Yeah.
You know, do they go to hell? I bet if you look around enough, or maybe knock through some walls, you'll get into some caverns under those hills that are
So-
actually ancient buildings or cities,
Maybe.
from
So-
10,000 years earlier. I'm
I
gonna
got-
I'm gonna throw that one out there.
I
Yeah.
got two things.
Okay.
Viper, if you want to go first, you can.
Oh, sure. I was just going to say, the secret tunnels of the Red Keep, for some reason in my head, I was just connecting it to, Bran when he's in the cave and there's all of these like twisting tunnels going down and down and down. When I heard like steps to hell, that's what I thought of was Bran
like the
in the
deep
tunnel,
caves
and
that
all
go
the way
on
to
and
you know
on.
the Red Keep also has secret tunnels as well. So
Secret
who knows?
tunnels.
I
do
took
wanna-
it as this is kind of the poetic or like metaphorical or whatever you kind of call it part, right? Where like
Mhm.
when Varys is talking about the
That's
cell,
one of my two things. So I was going to say
so,
two
so
things.
he talks
One of
about
them is
he
Varys.
talks about how there's a bunch of layers, and then there's the black cells, and these like, and then at a certain point it's like, and then here it's so fucked up that you don't even want to have a torch. You just want to you don't want to see what's going on here. And a lot of people speculate as to why that is, like that. He's
Oh, that's
hiding
so
some
true.
interesting
Wait.
stuff or whatnot. But I think that whatever he might be hiding, we don't know how many layers there actually are. It obviously stops at a certain point, but we do know that there was horrific torture dungeons there. So this is,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of one and the same, where the steps to hell are like, you know, it's kind of like a Dante's Inferno in terms of how bad it gets when you're
So-
inside the Red Keep itself. And this is a poetic liberty here, but it has all its elements. It has dark dungeons. It has horrific things that are, you know, horrible beyond the imagination, that are like, you know, you got to go down all the way through this, you know, through these deep layers that seem to go on forever. It's got secrets. When it was constructed, all the builders were murdered, and who knows? We don't know how they were murdered. He might have murdered them all in the crazy dark places in terms of
Maybe.
torture and stuff. Like
All right.
it could be bad.
So,
you know?
so I got two guys. One is Varys, coming out of water from deep down when Arya sees him talking to Illyrio Mopatis. Varys stepping out of hell was my first thought, and then I was thinking of a different character that came out of the depths of hell, if you will take this.
Ooh.
Jack and Hagar.
Ah.
We don't know where he came from. He came from
okay.
deep into the black cells with two of the most nasty dudes in the world. He is the faceless man, and he is the god of death. Done.
Ooh, okay,
He
that's
came
interesting.
from the depths of hell because we don't know
Yeah.
where Jaqen came from. He is
Yeah.
actually a god of death from the depths of hell.
I always
I like
like
it.
the idea that
Interesting.
Varys inserted him in the black cells, but I think this works
Or-
even if that's
or
how he got
Peter.
in there. He was inserted into the deep
I-
darks of nowhere beyond
like
human
Peter being
imagination,
put-
and he was, you know, he came out of that to meet Arya.
Yeah, if I take my tinfoil hat off, I'm gonna go with Indie Geek's idea that Peter, who knows how much a faceless man, he drops something like, dude, they're not cheap, I know. Like, so he drops that Peter's hired one before, but the idea that Peter planted Jaqen there to kill Ned, because Ned wasn't supposed to be beheaded. Everyone sat down and agreed that he wasn't going to be beheaded, and Joffrey's just an idiot and just like, up with his head. And everyone's like, bro, we talked. So the idea that Ned was supposed to go to the Watch.
Yeah.
You put Jaqen in there, he's going to go with them, and Jaqen can kill him later on, and he's a faceless man hired by Peter to kill Ned. And so that's an indie geek, and I love that. I think that's
slight pushback question, I guess. Maybe it's a pushback question, maybe it's not. But slight question about this. If this is true, what would Peter give to make this happen? Because the faceless men always ask for something pretty substantial.
He's got gold, man. He's literally ran the entire kingdom to death. He's got all tons and
tons of gold for days, and maybe it's not tangible like in his hand or whatever. I think a lot of it's kind of like theoretical.
Yeah,
like, he has a lot of gold, like in theory,
Yeah,
he's valued very highly, but that's exactly why I would be like, would the House of Black and White just ask for a bunch of gold from him? They a lot of times they seem like they ask for something pretty extreme, and like So that's a legit question where I'm like, what does he have that he could give to them that he would want to give over to the murder of Ned Stark? Like,
we know he has ties to Bravos too, because his dad's from Bravos, and we just know that he literally has bankrupt the realm by giving all of his money away. Like, I don't know. And maybe it would have just been gold, maybe not. We do know when it comes to buying a faceless man, it depends on the head. That if I wanted,
it depends on
if I wanted Ted oft, it's gonna cost me like $4 or $5, right? Like,
that's why I'm like, I feel like they'd ask him for something
quite a lot. It's the hand of the king.
Want to give over, like,
the hand of the king.
I feel like if he had that conversation with the faceless men, they'd be like, "You got to do this," and he'd be like, "Ooh, fuck no, that ain't happening."
You got to get Cersei to call us back. I don't know.
You got to get Cersei to call the Bank of Bravos. Here's the number 772. Whoa, we're not.
Whoa. All right, but only if Ned dies.
With the Queen. All right. Who she's in currently.
That's funny.
When she's murdering everybody, she's murdering every other Tyrachi sailor.
Oh my god. Yeah. All right. We got anything else for the Red Keep besides Jaqen came from the depths of hell and he is the faceless god of death, or Varys came from the depths of hell because he is the drowned god come again.
I don't know.
Whichever one you like.
I got one more question if you guys want to try to answer it for me. And like, this is just totally speculative. I mean, unless George has answered this somewhere in like one of the lore books, and I don't know.
I mean,
so the castle, he kills all the builders, right? So
Maegor, yes.
He throws a party for him and kills them.
Is that every single person who's worked on the whole castle? Or is that just people who are kind of like elite builders? Like, is this designers, masons and stuff?
That's not answered.
Like literally every person who's touched a brick, every person who's swung a hammer, every person who's cracked a stone at the core.
It just says in the books.
How far down the chain does he do a murder on people?
Not sure. It just says that he kills all of the builders.
All the builders. But yeah, so what we do know though is that is in like 20 something AC. Like, it takes 20 years to build this damn thing. There's no feasible way to kill every single builder.
So what if someone worked for 10 years and then retired? Does he come find you?
That's
like,
true.
does he keep that detailed of
well, we do know that the secrets get out.
Like the Westeros Becca after you, and you get like run down and found.
We do know that it's not. I mean, it's a good kept secret. It's definitely a kept secret, but not the best kept secret. That if you work at Harrenhal long enough, you're gonna find out, or not Harrenhal, sorry, the Red Keep long enough, you're gonna find out ways around. Like, Varys knows, Tyrion finds out, well, from Varys, but Tywin possibly knows because there is a tunnel leading to a brothel that is got Tywin's, like, Tywin was here written all over it. And if you want to pick the least master of secrets type man there is, it's Tywin. So if Tywin knows about your secret tunnels and is using them, then you just kind of got to hang out there long enough on the thing. I mean, dang, freaking Blood and Cheese were just rat catchers and they knew their way around the dang tunnels. So, and they're not masters of secrets, they're masters of
Arya found her way out. So clearly it's something that can be done
Yeah.
With if not with ease, with some luck.
Yeah, she ain't calling nobody.
That's true.
Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't the cat that let her out?
Maybe
that could be very true. It might have been a lot more skill than luck.
The cat named Balerion.
That's the case.
The
It's
cat
her
named
being in
Balerion.
tune with her warging abilities, like from kind of from jump, rather than her, being lucky in terms of getting the right pass.
I think I haven't thought of a April Fool's character yet, but I usually just want to cover somebody who's like, "What are you doing, Taco?" And like, because I covered S-word mouth. I know it's long enough in the stream. I covered shit mouth last April Fool's, and I was like thinking, like, do I cover Mormont's Raven and pretend like it's not Blood Raven at all? Like, don't just leave that at the end, but really just cover the life of the Raven as much as we know every scene the Raven's in, or Balerion the cat, because he's got a lot. Like Balerion the cat's got a full-on description. He's got a few chapters he's in. Dude, I could make a 10-minute, 15-minute video out of Balerion the cat.
Or a capital D dog.
Yeah, no,
Balerion
the cat I think is actually a good one. I haven't gotten around to doing it, but on my list was doing Cats of Ice and Fire, and I wanted to do a segment on Balerion the cat because
or husband, not a husband. His name's just husband.
Husband.
Husband is the husband of the owner of the Inn of the Kneeling Man. Yeah. Her husband is capital H, husband. If you just type husband, you get his character.
Wow.
No, I didn't make this up. So I might do a character video for husband.
Do a husband. That's an excellent one. Husband is not talked about very often. He's incredibly minor.
No, he's great. I mean, he's got no less than shitmouth. Like, I didn't have too much for shitmouth, except for the fact that he's like one of the only Bolton's men who I would actually, or Mountain's men who would actually hang out with. He's the least YouTube friendly character. You have to have like a huge 5-minute lead in, and then you can be like, and now we're talking about. I called him S-word mouth until pretty much the end of the stream. I think I finally called him shit mouth, but I called him S-word mouth right away, and I had to censor the thumbnail. But no, I think husband might be the guy. I always wanted a husband. Moon Man, you staying silent down there. Do you want me to insult you via Wayne's World 2 vids, or do you want
I can take whatever you got.
All right, just wait.
When did you turn into a nut bar?
When I started reading these fucking books.
Dude.
That was it. That was it for me.
I don't know what I think of my guests, but so many of these videos, so many of my clips are just telling people to shut up. And I don't know. Like, why do I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, I should use this.
Yeah, the most hostile daytime talk show in the world.
This? It's not daytime. It's hostile. All right, you ready?
Constantly Wayne's worlding the guests.
All right, I'm gonna tell you to shut up in 2 different ways. Ready?
You shut your dirty mouth.
Shut your dirty little mouth.
Oh god, you gave it the Adventure Time and the Stephen Colbert. I'm doubly.
That is Strangers with Candy, by the way.
I'm one. You gave it the Colbert one too.
TV show from early 2000s, Strangers with Candy, back before Viper was alive. Yeah, dude, I know. I did the math. Oh my god. Oh, no. And yeah, I'll save the rest of the shut-ups. I got like 4 other ones. But do you need a nice one and then we can move on?
I would love a nice one.
All right.
I love you.
Thank you.
Hey, got the Tim Curry there.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like Home Alone 2 really speaks to me when it comes to clips.
Yeah. I was watching Hunt for Red October the other day. That actually has Tim Curry too.
Yeah, Chuck has got it. Oh, really? He's in Hunt for Red October?
Yeah, he's like
the political officer.
second in command on the Russian sub.
What a time to be alive! I did not know that.
That's not mixing it up. I thought that was, or he's the doctor. He's the doctor, I think. Yeah, he's one of the officers still on the Russian sub. I swear.
Oh my god, I did not know that.
Second chance was somebody else. He's the doctor because
Sam Neill is the second in kind.
Oh, yeah, Sam Neill. Yeah. All right.
Moon Man remembers the movie.
We want
to before. I hadn't seen it, to be honest.
We've done 2 huge ones. Do we want to do a small one?
Whatever you want.
Let's go. Let's get a little chill out a little bit. Let's go to the Hellholt.
Hellholt.
The Hellholt.
Hell's the Hellholt.
The Hellholt is in Dorne, as you can tell.
Yep.
This is a stretch. So I wanted to limit myself to actually hearing about ghost stories, but there just wasn't enough. So I've just started finding like vibes, right? And this is definitely a haunted vibe. So this is a stretch, no real evidence, but so much evil symbolism. So the Hellholt is a seat of House Uller. And if you guys don't know, I should have put it on the card, but the quote about the Ullers is half of them are mad and the other half are worse.
Ah.
Right? Yeah, so the Ullers are crazy. So the castle is located near the source of the River Brimstone. Yeah, that's right. It's called River Brimstone. The Ullers were Andal adventurers who settled along the Brimstone. The Hellholt is named after an event in which the rivals were invited to a castle, or to this castle, locked inside, and then all burned to death.
That's some Mad King shit.
Yeah, that's gotta make some ghosts, right?
Yeah.
And then the only description we get is that it's grim and stinking, and that just seems ghosty.
What's interesting about the Hellholt is, if I'm not mistaken, Meraxes dies there, right? Meraxes
Correct.
dies
Ask about that.
Correct.
Is
that
the one?
Yeah.
That's the one that kills Princess Rhaenys and or Queen Rhaenys and Meraxes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, see,
because I did a poll like, who's your favorite Dragon Slayer, and everyone's like, other Archer 14. Like the one dude who made the shot.
Really quick, Taco. Did you see Jekka? I like Tim Curry in Command and Conquer. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's bitching.
What's the
Tim Curry's great and everything, but
was it Command and Conquer? What's the video game where it was Red
Alert, right? It's
Red Alert. Yeah, that's what she's talking
about. But he's in, I think, Red Alert 2.
Red Alert 2?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So the best line of all time is I will go to the one place capitalism has not conquered, space. And he says it like super crazy. I can't find that quote. I've been trying to get that clip to put in here because he's just like, space. Like goes full.
Yeah, I know.
And he's like,
if you can find
something in it,
Red
like,
Alert 2 to throw in here, that'd be great.
Hey, dude, do you just want to do a paycheck? And he's like, no, I'll go all out. And he goes all out for no reason.
He's professional.
No, that was like,
there you go. Spray.
That was like a great heyday of video game bullshit because they were doing that a lot. Like I remember the game I played way more than Command and Conquer was actually the Dune that they came out with prior to that. And in the Dune, they had live action actors too. And so I'll always remember when you're playing Harkonnen, you play you take orders from a mentat grown out of a flesh vat. And the actor who plays him he's also all out. He's totally fucking all in on the role. This was fantastic.
Let me know when you're done, Randy.
That is a great game. The Westwood Dune that's the original RTS.
Yeah, no,
it's
fantastic.
I got something specifically.
That was
for
my
you guys
shit
right now.
20 years ago.
Do you remember so you know Microprose pretty well, man? So my uncle worked for Microprose, and he did Birth of the Federation was one of the games he was a tester on. And
now Birth of the Federation is like a port of their game Masters of Orion, which I only ever played a little, but I have racked up hundreds of hours on Birth of the Federation.
Yeah, that's a fucking awesome game. I re-downloaded it the other day, the newer one that has all the mods and stuff. I was gonna try to play it. But,
really? I wonder.
Yeah, he gave us copies of Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was a kid. We got that shit early because it was Starfish and stuff, and I think there was Starfish being bought by Microprose, if I recall. I might be mixing it up. Yeah. But all those games back in the day, that was all the early days of crazy RTS. We played StarCraft when we were kids and shit.
Mm-hmm. All right, I got something specifically for you right now, Random.
Yeah,
ready?
Let's do it.
Nerd. You get, dude. You hijacked the stream for 2 minutes to talk about your old freaking PC games. All right. Sorry. This is my apology.
What do you think we are, nerds?
Rocky 3. That's what that is.
What's our next castle though?
We're still on Hellholt. Are we done?
Yeah. Did we
it could be haunted.
Did we talk about the dragon?
Yeah. There's either a dragon ghost or all the people that got burned in there.
Yeah.
I just realized There's another instance of the Hellholt being connected to like all of this fire imagery. After
Their
Meraxes
sigil's
died,
fire as well. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
yeah, after Meraxes died, Aegon and Visenya went over to the Hellholt and like burned it to the point where like the nearby sand was fused into like glass.
Yeah.
There's so yeah, that's another like piece of imagery like connecting
of hellfire imagery.
Yes, of
Yeah,
connecting
thank you,
fire
Viper.
to the Hellholt, which
super
is
awesome.
interesting. Yeah.
So another house that's extinct that got killed off by Nymeria when Nymeria's conquest of Dorne was named Dryland. I did a short for these guys.
Okay.
Also because I love yelling Dryland is not a myth to but House Dryland might just straight up be Umbers. I'm glad I got moved. Viper's not going to get that reference. It's from an olden time called the 90s. But
called the 90s.
Oh, you are
Hey, I've seen the live show at Universal. Okay,
you saw the live Waterworld show. All right, hell yeah. Okay, no. Anyway, so House Dryland was from the River Brimstone as well. And the final king, was defeated and then sent to the wall by Nymeria. And his name, and I'm not making this up, was named Lucifer Dryland.
Lucifer Dryland.
Straight up Lucifer, bro.
Wow.
Like, fuck it, man. Like, just let's name him.
Presumably it doesn't have the same connotation in Westeros.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, so Lucifer Dryland, and his moniker was the last of his ilk, which is a weird, the last of his ilk. Yeah, I know. It's a so
like
I had to,
imagery.
I was doing
something.
extinct houses video. It's one of my live streams we did where we looked at all extinct houses. And then when I discovered Dryland, like my jaw hit the ground. I'm like, what is this house? Like out of nowhere, House Dryland, like Lucifer Dryland, and just like Liver Brimstone. And I think the name of their castle was like just straight up like hell something. Like I can look it up, but it was even more hellish than that.
It was even more hell.
Yeah, it was just called.
It was the Hell Satans out of Bakersfield.
House Dryland, Hellgate Hall. Yeah, they were from Hellgate Hall.
Hellgate Hall.
Is it possible this region of Dorne is just called Hell?
Just possible this region of Dorne is.
I mean, this is the deep
like
desert.
River Brimstone
right?
runs through Hell.
Where armies
the
like
Death Valley,
the Valley of Hell.
Are you just saying Pokemon names now, Froakie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that we just devolved and just yelling out really awesome Pokemon. I don't know what spurred that, Nick, but it's pretty funny. All right, yeah. So hey, we could squeeze things out of out of House Uller. See, well, look at us go, guys. You guys want another
if we're
one?
gonna squeeze things in Dorne, we got to go to like House Lemonwood, right? Wherever the lemon trees are at.
Oh yeah, House Bolt. So freaking Preston Jacobs can have an ulcer because we're talking about lemons.
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna get more laughs. All right. All right, we're ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. I think we
the other castle.
Go ahead.
The other castle I was interested in, as to that's cool that's there, is the Citadel. You have
yeah. We could talk about the Citadel. Yeah, good one. But first,
My mom and dad are gonna be so
there you go.
I don't know what prompted that.
I said I'm gonna play Matthew Lillard from stream in between these. You're getting your dad's mixed up. He was doing something else. What are you just typing random Pokemon in? Sorry, I got mixed up. All right.
He's having like a pokey seizure where he can only type Pokemon names in.
Dude, been there.
It's a code.
Viper, are you old enough to watch horror movies?
Yeah, I'm old enough to watch horror movies. Oh my god, guys.
It's not guys. I'm the only one picking on you. Moon Man had to put up with me last time. It's your turn now. No, you never watched Scream?
Sorry?
You never watched the first Scream movie?
I'm not a big horror movie fan. I'll have to say, I'm sorry to out myself like this. Right. I got, as a child, I got scared watching Goosebumps.
Oh, okay.
All of the
Legitimately.
goosebumps.
I mean, they
Okay.
were pretty scary.
But what
Well,
about
looking
Are
back
You
at
Afraid
it-
of Dark?
Oh,
Sorry?
Are You Afraid of Dark was good, but I think that was before Viper.
I've seen
That's-
every episode.
Early 90s. I'm not old enough to watch horror movies, and I'm 30.
I'm 30.
There
I
you
get
go.
that.
Look, what's got your back? No, so the first Scream, I will always I have a soft spot in my heart just because I grew up watching a lot of horror movies, and Scream is just kind of like I think it's one of them that like transcends the genre. Like it's just an all around really really good movie and really important to the slasher genre as a whole. But specifically, Matthew Lillard was just on something in every single scene. He chews the scenery and just goes like he's a tour de force. Like you forget he's there, but every scene he's like up on somebody's grill or he's spitting all over and he's just overacting. And it's so good. And it sounds like I'm describing something bad, but he pulls off all of these things. And I just decided for a horror movie or a Halloween stream that I give you guys to Matthew Lillard. So sorry if I give you Nightmares Later, Viper, but.
No worries. No
All right.
worries.
Citidel. Ready? All right.
Citidel.
Huh?
Not a castle, deal with it, is what I wrote. The Citadel is a complex of buildings in an old town that serves as the central home to the Order of Maesters. The name is also implied to refer to the Order of Maesters as an institution or the higher place members at the Citadel is reciting archmaesters that teach and train new students. You guys know all this. They're called the Conclave. All right, that doesn't sound haunted or creepy. But wait, we have a story from Qyburn. So according to Qyburn, he says the ghost of a woman. He saw a ghost of a woman there once, and that's ghost for sure. So I'll actually tell you because I just did a video for this for my shorts. I believe he's talking to Jamie, but he says that he walked into a room where he swear he saw a woman sitting. And she then disappeared, but the seat was still dented in, and her smell was still there.
Oh, I remember that.
I hate to burst. I don't even need to say this, but you're gonna get comments. So they're talking about ghosts in that scene at Harrenhal when Jamie meets Qyburn.
Yeah,
but Qyburn is making like an analogy. He's like, I came into a room once after a woman who was really alive had left, and I knew she had been there because I could smell or scent, and I could see that that the cushion was imprinted. And he makes an analogy like, if we leave remnants of ourselves when we leave a room, why not, when we die?
Oh, so you're saying that
I think he's right. That's like a philosophical. He's like
story?
asking a philosophical question. He's not really like saying he saw a ghost.
Well, I wish somebody would have told me that before I did an entire short on it.
Well, no. I'll hit you with there.
No one said that in the comments. Like it got
hands down. Man. There are ghosts there.
Okay, well, I'm a fucking pedant. Okay, that's why I'm here. Okay.
You guys
why I'm
Marwyn,
on YouTube,
right? Marwyn, right? So Marwyn literally tells Sam that the Maesters will put poison in his porridge.
Oh yeah.
So, let's assume this is true for a minute. That means that they're racking up bodies. Like the Maesters have bodies on them. And I don't know what they do with those bodies. They probably end up in the cadaver dissecting room and you just don't get told who it is you're dissecting. But
you don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, why would there be a woman in the Citadel at all?
You just notice that there's an acolyte that's like not been to class for a while. Viper gets it because Viper's in class 2 right now. So.
Now I just feel like, come on, it wasn't just an analogy. How come I didn't catch that? It was just there are no ghosts. Shut up, Jamie. I really thought he was.
I mean, he's saying the opposite. He's like, yeah, I believe there could be ghosts.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, he's defending the idea by saying that like it's like
if you leave your smell,
that we're not like leaving behind an essence when we leave a room. So why would we not leave behind an essence when we die?
Okay, so
he actually is making the case that there probably is life after death or like presence after death or something like that. But
the way he's making it is interesting too, because what he's saying is, look, I'm not offering you any evidence or experience I have. What I'm saying is, about ghosts. What I'm saying is, it sounds perfectly reasonable to me, and I see no reason to dismiss it out of hand. So, which I like, again, as someone who doesn't believe in canon. And the farther I go with my videos, the more I'm going to get questions like, what's your evidence? To which I will reply, go fuck yourself. I don't need evidence. I'm doing an analysis here.
I will reply.
It's not about finding the evidence.
I will reply. Thanks for the view and the watch time, bitch. That's my evidence. Don't clip that. I really love my viewers, but no, you don't need. I do agree with you that you don't need to propose a theory. One doesn't need concrete thing. It's a thought it's a thought experiment for a fictional universe. That being said, I do believe that in order to put something forth, you should be prepared to back it up, or else what are we doing here? Like, you should be able to discuss it and give as much backup as possible. And if you have no evidence, then if somebody goes, you have no evidence, you say, yeah, yep. Yeah, but like, yeah, I think that's one reason why I'm not a theory guy, and because I believe it or not, as much of a crazy person I am, I don't really like putting myself out there for real scrutiny. I try to only speak what Moonman doesn't say exists is the canon. I literally just say these are what happens in the books, and these are the theories people have, and I don't really put myself out that much. I just try to make jokes about it and educate people on what the lore is as far as we know it. And at the same time, I will also admit that the lore isn't concrete, which is what I think Moonman's trying to say, because all this stuff is coming from points of views of people. Are you really going to call it canon? Because all of this could be wishy-washy and from the wrong people's point of view, and also interpreted wrong from said characters. And I agree on all that. But at the same time, I want to tell people about House Dryland and so on and so forth, and really explore the real meat and potatoes of these books, because I feel like we spend too much time on R+L=J and Secret Targaryens that we forget how awesome certain characters are, and certain locations are, and certain stories of the lore. You know, like I did a short today about House Upcliff, and there was a character named Ursula Upcliff who was a sorceress on Witch Isle and slept with the Merlin King and tried to curse this dude on the Battle of the Seven Stars, and the guy tore his head off. Like, you're never going to hear about this stuff in the shows, but wasn't that interesting? Like, wasn't that, like, that's what I love.
Like, yeah, I think data on the one hand and lore on the other are like useful spectrum for talking about, like, what we're analyzing here. Whereas, like, I would reject the idea of canon, but it's specifically, for that reason that I love your character videos, because you're able, by focusing on a character, especially the maybe sort of middling or even minor characters, you go in and, like, you can start to see using the data you have and the lore, that can be generated from that, or rather the data you have and the lore you have from its various sources in the books, by looking at like a minor character or a nothing character over the course, but all of it. Sometimes they just pop up like once or twice across books in like different places on the continent, and you're not thinking about this. You're not meant to be thinking about this reading it. You're not, especially on a first read, like, oh, this is the guy who was in that other conversation or who was mentioned offhand. And only when you start to explore that, which you do in those videos, do you realize, like, a lot of these people just keep coming back in being mentioned,
or even have arcs. Like, and you're not meant to think about them. Like Forley Prester. Yeah. I just did a video for Forley Prester. It's coming out in a few weeks. Homeboy has a full arc, and he's only in the background, only talks to Jamie once, and afterwards Jamie's like, he would make a good hand. And you're like, who the heck is this dude? And then if you do what I do and go back and look at you see that he, like, has always been a really capable leader and just keeps getting put into crappy situations. And then he's the only guy who survives, like, really huge terrible one-sided victories on Robb Stark's side. And you see, like, he survives the Battle of the Camps outside of River Run right after Whispering Wood, and then survives the Battle of Oxcross, and then brings all those regiments back and makes a host to then go besiege River Run. So now that you know all that, you're like, yeah, he's like a capable leader. But you don't remember any of that crap. And just out of nowhere, Jamie's like, yeah, this dude, he should be a hand. And you're like, he should be a hand? What are you talking? Just a fat dude. And he also, something that sticks up with that guy is that Jamie says that he looks less like a knight and more like an innkeeper. In the description of somebody as looks like an innkeeper, always puts a specific thought in your head, like, you know what that means. We lost Viper.
Nope, I'm back.
Oh, hey. You guys lost me earlier, but I feel like, is my internet doing okay?
Yeah.
I got unplugged
Looking
because
good,
my cat, and then I plugged it back in. Thanks. All you guys look good, except for Random. He doesn't even show his face anymore.
Random looks great. What do you mean?
No, I have a new
I'm looking at
computer
her
set up,
face.
so I couldn't make my webcam reach to sit on top of my monitor, unfortunately.
Dude, you know what I picture? Whenever you like, hey, I'm going to show up, but I'm not going to show my face, I just think you're swimming in a bunch of kittens, because you always have your kids. I just think you're just getting crawled over, like, ew, that's what I was thinking.
Oh no, and the cats are huge now. Like one of my cats that was a kitten, he grew up to be like bigger than my other cat that was the old cat. He's just this monster cat. It's crazy.
100%.
Is that a Maine Coon that you have?
He's not a Maine Coon, I don't think. He's just a really big cat. My other cat is also just a really big cat. He's like a 16-pound cat. He's just a chonky. You know, he's not that bad. He's just big cat. You know, he's a little hefty, but he's just also just.
We have one guy, old cat who's now diabetic that we gotta give insulin every 12 hours, and he's getting really old and not eating well. And then we have a now also old but not as old. Now the kitten, we still call him, but he's like 9 now. He's just super fat. So we're just waiting for the cat because we need to leave food out pretty much. Like now we're feeding Ted every 12 hours and then in between so we can give him medicine with his food. But we also just leave food out just in case Ted feels like eating. He's the old cat. But that just means that we leave food out for fat cat Capone to just constantly eat. So like as soon as Ted's not around, like Capone's gonna have a rude awakening. Like he's gonna get put on such a diet and we're gonna like. Yeah, you're like, why is one cat wasting away? And you see the other one just quadrupling.
He's like when once it stops, he's gonna be like the endless buffet. What happened?
Yeah,
I thought it was all you could eat.
Gonna put you on a diet, bro. I can now insult myself because why did we go on a cat route? So here, let me play this.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
All right. Oh, and also here, I do got a cat one for you, Random. This is for you. I didn't have this planned, but I got another Wayne's World 2 that is fitting.
No. I'm just going to stay here and lick the cat's butt.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Unfortunately, I do got to drop off here pretty soon.
Oh,
so
God, I thought you were going to say, unfortunately, I have
one more
butt.
castle, and then I got to go.
I swear I thought you were going to say, unfortunately, I have accidentally licked the cat's butt, and it wasn't.
No. Thankfully not, right? That would be unfortunate, right?
That would be. Since this is going to be your farewell castle, do you want a small, fun one, or kind of another bigger one?
What do you guys feeling? Did you guys really want to cover any one castle in particular, or do you want to just kind of throw the dartboard and see what sticks?
I don't know. I think we've hit pretty much. We got to save Nightfort for later. Like we can't use Nightfort yet.
Nightfort's long. And it's fun, but I wish I could be here for the Nightfort. Yeah, let's do a different one. What other ones do you got?
Do you want a really dinky tiny that you might not even have ever thought about?
Yeah, throw it at me.
Right, cool.
What you got?
Banefort.
Banefort.
Yeah, House Banefort of the Westerlands. This is another one like Hellholt that's never stated outright to be haunted. But hear me out. All right, so Banefort was the seat of House Banefort, believe it or not, on one of the main families, Soren to Casterly Rock and House Lannister. They were founded in the Age of Heroes by a man just named the Hooded Man, which is great. Okay. The last Hooded King was Morgan Banefort, who had thralls that were who like had a whole army of thralls, and they were defeated after a 20-year war by Loren the First Lannister, King of the Rock.
Lannister. Okay.
Morgan was said to have been a powerful necromancer who cursed his vanquishers as he died, claiming that he would he would return from the grave. Oh, sorry. When he was being killed by Lauren, he cursed him, saying that I'm going to come back. I'll return from the grave. And in response, Lauren had Morgan's body cut up into pieces and fed to his lions. And then 2 years later, those same lions broke free within Casterly Rock and slayed 3 of Lauren's sons. So, yeah, the Hooded Kings, a necromancer just sounds like cool haunted castle stuff.
Well, and I mean, like, I think what we can confirm, I mean, he did come back to life because he's at Winterfell talking to people right now.
Oh, yeah, the Hooded Man in Winterfell. Yeah, I know.
You're so right.
He's in Winterfell just saying, hey, Theon, you're a loser. Bye. Deuces.
He came back to life, and it's like hundreds of years in the future, and his castle's gone. It's like the geography's changed, and he's just like, what am I doing? He walks up to Winterfell and just starts making fun of Theon. You know?
George makes the coolest, like, tertiary, or not even tertiary, like quaternary characters. It's great.
Dude, the Hooded Man in Winterfell, I wanted to, like, do a theory about him, just like everybody else. And I went back and I watched or listened to that chapter, and there was like, he's just there. He shows up, he calls Theon stupid, and then bounces. And it's like, how is that scene, which is like 2 paragraphs, stemmed hours of theories about who the Hooded Man could be? Is it Robert?
Because there's so little detail, it's hard to figure out who he is. I mean, because like, honestly, it's like, and he could be a lot of things. Like, he could be a hallucination. So is he? And then it's like, if he's not a hallucination, he could be a person. And then if he's a person, who the fuck is he, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't have like Winterfell on this list.
Yeah, I should have. I almost put just straight up the crypts, but I didn't.
The crypts are definitely probably got some kind of ghost.
That's another there, right? Stairs all the way down in the hell because the stairs are collapsed. They keep going, but they can't get to them because just one of the stairways collapsed, so they don't go down there anymore. So you're like, how far does that go? You know, I don't know why I didn't do it. I think I even had the thought, and it was one of those, like, you know, I didn't write it down fast enough. I'm old. And it got lost until here we are on the stream, and somebody goes, what about Winterfell? And then I'm like, oh yeah, what about Winterfell?
What about the Banefort?
I got the Banefort.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. Yeah, you got the Banefort, but you don't have Winterfell. You know.
I felt like Banefort and Uller were the Hellholt were more pressing.
Than
the Winterfell. Ugh.
Yep.
And then we're gonna talk about raising dragons and all this lame crap. Oh, and the Rock. Yeah, I almost had the Rock on here too. Those are the 2 of the big main ones that I almost put on. But of course, just because I don't have it here doesn't mean we can't. We can definitely talk about Casterly Rock being haunted and the Crypts of Winterfell. We don't need a card. You know, we're not ruled by the cards, guys.
Hey, man, all of Westeros is haunted. Okay, it's
very true.
Lousy with the souls and consciousnesses of perhaps millions or billions of beings that are, you know, weighing down the psyches of all of humanity like a never-ending nightmare.
Yeah, that's true. I should have had old stones in here too. Those are, God, I was just too purgatory.
Was it before the chat or was it early in the series that we mentioned High Heart? Because I was like, I kind of wondered if that was haunted by anybody other than the ghost.
The ghost isn't a real ghost. That's my only thing.
No, she's not a ghost, but she's
a child of the forest
in like a metaphorical sense. That's her haunt, you know.
Yeah.
That's where she hangs out at. And
she
so
is 1
I
billion
wondered if if there's anybody else who was dead who hangs out there.
Oh, dang it! I had like a video clip I was gonna play at the beginning of the video, and I totally forgot I was gonna do it. That's so funny. Well, whatever. We'll do it later.
Never too late, Taco.
Well, do we want to talk about the Banefort, or should I play the video? Should I restart this whole stream? It's a 7-second, not really, Viper. You're like, what? Start? No, I meant like because I didn't play what I wanted to play at the beginning. It's like we're starting all over. Like, all right, so we're gonna kill this.
Stream's over. Stream's over. Come back in 5 minutes now.
Well, Oh, or just go ahead, Viper, because
I'm wondering what you could play that would only make sense at the beginning.
Well,
What?
Do you want to know?
Yeah,
7
yeah,
seconds.
I would love to.
It's from my favorite third installment of a horror movie franchise of all time.
Okay.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, I should have played that right away. Can anyone tell me the movie that's from?
It's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
I love you, Moon Man. Dude, right away, as soon as you heard dee doo dee doo dee doo, did you know what it was?
Yeah.
No. Horror movie fans, like, you hear dee doo dee doo doo.
I don't even really like horror movies, but Halloween 3 rocks.
Yeah, Halloween 3 does rock. It is probably my favorite, if not my second favorite, but of the Halloween franchise. But it's pretty freaking good.
you know who else rocks is the band Halloween, the hair metal band that I used to listen to as a teenager. And on that note, I do got to take off. So I wanted to say happy Halloween to everybody.
Halloween.
All right,
Yeah.
happy Halloween. Get
Bye,
out of
RG.
here. Random, and thanks for showing up. It was good. I can't say seeing you again because I didn't see you, but good talking to you again.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'll have to try to come back soon. I mean, I got a bunch of fucking classes and shit going on. So, but hopefully in this next week or so, things aren't going to be too busy. Maybe I'll come back for a stream and I'll be able to see everybody. Again,
Yeah,
so.
a month from today is normally when I do them.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And good to see
Nice
you,
to
Moon
finally
Man.
meet you, Random.
See you, Viper. Happy Halloween to everybody in the chat. I'll talk to you guys later.
See you, dude.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.
Do I have? All right, here I got a thing I can. Now that he's gone,
This is where the fun begins.
this is
Getting whittled down like a slasher film.
like a
Who will be the
slasher
final
film.
girl.
Oh man. Should it? All right. Do we got anything for Banefort? Not too
I
much.
don't
for
have
there.
anything
These
for
people,
Banefort?
what's with these houses? What are they hiding? What were they hiding
Yeah.
when they took the name Banefort from the castle? Which it's obviously that it was the name. It's fort, so it was the name of the castle first.
Oh, it definitely was the name of the castle first. Like 100%.
And so, what were they hiding? Was it just that they didn't have a name, or was it like the Royal House Windsor, hiding their distasteful ethnic background?
That's hilarious. No, this is my theory: is the hooded man, which was the legend from the Age of Heroes, founded it and then named it Banefort, but he didn't have a name. He was Hooded Man, and then he, whatever, ruled for hundreds of years or whatever, they say for these old guys. And then his descendants are like, well, we can't just be called House Hooded Man. And then maybe because they had the Banefort, or they were saying Hooded Man of the Banefort, Frank of the Banefort, they just took Banefort.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my guess.
I think that makes sense. But I like the idea that they did have it. Some of these, because there's a few houses that just name themselves after the castle, and some of them must have been changing it, for more political reasons than just it becoming their name.
Oh, they were like a house, something, I don't know, House Ironborn, or like you're saying
House
there's
of
political
Asperly
reasons.
was a
Yeah,
thing.
like the Windsors. And their German name. They just name themselves after the castle, so it is like a thing.
Yeah.
People do, I guess, but
Sorry, now I'm doing something to make you guys happy, but I guess I got nothing else for Banefort besides why are they called Banefort? And also, like, what's with a dude with an army of thralls who can put on a 20-year war? That's like, I don't know, man. That's some scary crap. Like, he's just got a bunch of mindless thralls and apparently enough to fight the Lannisters by himself.
This was during this was during the Age of Heroes, so like we don't really know if any of these details are conflated or not.
Yeah, most likely not. You can like minus 50% anytime the Age of Heroes says anything about time When it's like he ruled
Yeah.
for 50 years, it's like, so 25 years.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you know, I can imagine like I guess where would the name Banefort come from? Like the Dreadfort, you know, it's a scary place. No
Yeah.
one wants to go, right? That's what, you know. Probably some torture, some
Probably some
murder and
torture.
execution.
I do like just the very casual, probably some torture.
Some torture.
And also I missed my possible American Psycho reference when you said murders and executions. Mergers and God, what's the line from American Psycho?
Acquisitions.
Mergers and acquisitions. He's like, she's like, oh, what do you do? He's like, mergers and executions. She's like, oh, I have a friend who's in mergers and acquisitions as well. because people only hear what they want to hear. So you're saying that Banefort was investment bankers.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's not a bad
hedge.
Maybe
It's
they had
a hedge fund.
Yeah, a hedge fund. They were just a big hedge fund.
Bain Capital.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. All right. Are we good then with Banefort? We're gonna move. I am putting something together now, though, so that's what I'm typing. And
Okay.
hidden. So don't worry, I got something. You guys need another Matthew Lillard?
Always.
I would love one.
All right, good.
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
Wow.
I know, it's so good. Come on. I like how I just see you get transferred into this high tense scene, like just Viper, just like, what is going on? They're bad people, okay? Matthew Lillard's evil. I love him. We're really only down to 3, so I'm gonna fix that. But let's get one we can sink our teeth in a little bit more, and let's save Nightfort still. So let's. Are we already up north? Oh wait, we're not down to 3 yet. 1, 2, 3. We got 4 left.
4.
So yeah, we got 4 left. So let's do a good one. Let's hang out north and Dreadfort. So now we don't hear about ghosts here again specifically, but come on.
We hear about torture. Lots of torture.
We hear about enough. And also, I love the description of the Great Hall. So just listen to this. The Great Hall of the Dreadfort is dim and smoky with rows of torches grasped by skeletal human hands jutting from the wall. That's literally haunted house material there. That's some straight up Halloween haunted house crap.
Tacky haunted house.
Yeah, tacky. I love that.
Over the top.
Yeah, Roose Bolton's a little tacky. Also, it is said that the castle is ill-omened, for it's said that the Boltons keep torture chambers in a special room where they hang flayed skins of their enemies, Jesus, including several kings of the north. And if you want one last reason, the Boltons are buried beneath the Dreadfort. So they're either crypts or like crawl space bodies, right? So yeah, they do have dead Boltons down there too. So
they have, I mean, that does imply they have some kind of similar thing that the Starks are into. Keeping themselves in crypts. I didn't remember that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of like weird that, well, you would think that being somebody who lives in the north, such as I do, if somebody, like, we can't literally bury people into their graves during the winter here. Like you literally have to wait until the ground's not frozen. And we have modern technology and still it's like, dude, let's wait until spring. So you would think that living in the north, especially during winter, if you want to honor your dead, you have to find a different way to bury them, and you can't really like kind of keep them inside or something like that. Like that's why
you have to pre-dig our grave that has room, which is crypts.
Yeah,
like construct it ahead of time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything for Dreadfort? I do love the the skeletal hands. I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, some Roman
Like,
candle
that's freaky.
shit.
So nuts. I love it.
What I'm thinking about Roose Bolton now. What was it that he was bathing in when in the second book when Arya?
Well, I know he has
Sees him?
leeches. He gets leeched a lot. I
Oh,
don't know.
oh yeah.
I think he
I know-
has baths and then just gets leeched in the baths.
Got you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he does have
He's
a lot
such
of
an interesting character.
dude. I love Roose. Like, in the funny thing is he's not like he's definitely cunning and nasty and cutthroat, but I wouldn't call him like straight up evil. Like, you know, he definitely isn't a good dude by any means, but I think he's got a little bit more humanity. Actually, never mind. What he did to Ramsay's mom kind of ruins all that. But he just seems like he's a little more complex than a mustache twirling villain, is what I'm getting at. But
That's fair.
he's definitely a monster.
Got secrets.
Yeah.
The winter plot, like the North plot, is like one of my most anticipated plot points for like when Winds comes out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It really
something's gonna happen.
Yeah, and not only is something going to happen, but what? Like, there are so many different moving parts going on in that whole plot right now, because you got Barbara Dustin doing stuff with Wyman Manderley. You got like, seems like Ramsey. Stannis. You feel like Ramsey's not even playing
Davos.
the game. Yeah, Davos is hanging out with unicorn riding cannibals. Because why not? Yeah, no, there's all kinds. And then you got like Robert Glover just hanging out too, and you don't know where he is. And then there's like, what's going on with the people who know that Jon is Rob's heir? Like, that whole thing can pop off too. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, no, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in that plot. I love that plot. I am so close to being done, and I can fully talk to you guys. I feel like I'm doing pretty good multitasking.
Hey, I'm excited.
What are you cooking?
I'm cooking. I feel bad, so I'm cooking you guys something. I'm so glad I now have a mouse, so you guys don't hear me on my laptop. I just got to credit an artist, and then I'm adding something. And I got two I could do, but this is the big one. So, anything else for the Dreadfort? Besides the main hall looking like a haunted house at the mall.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot on the Dreadfort. It's
well, there's the skinning of wolf kings, right? Is the fact that the Starks are wargs, and you know, if one would have a pelt of a wolf or a pelt of something that they hunt. And the whole thing with Ramsay is the hunter symbolism, because he always has the pack of wolves with him, right? Or the pack of dogs, the pack of hunting dogs. And he's literally in love with his hunting dogs. They're called Ramsay's, I'm going to say girls. But yeah, the fact that their symbolism is huntsmen in flaying things, and their main rivals are dogs or wolves, or wolf symbolism. So something to be
They're werewolf hunters.
Yeah, they're literally
the good guys in a horror story.
Werewolf hunters. It's crazy that like they're like not even up for interpretation. That's what they are. Sorry, I'm almost done. But yeah, I do love that symbolism of the Kings of Winter pelts, if you will, you know, flayed skins that are hanging down in their chambers. And then there's a lot of like, why would they do that? Or like, what's with their obsession with that? And I've heard people's theories. I think it was the Company of the Cat who brought up like literally stealing powers or transforming into the people that you wear, like almost skin changing. Kind of like, there's
crazy stuff that people have theorized with the Boltons. I'm not sure if I quite believe all of the more tinfoil stuff, like Roose Bolton being a vampire, but
I do love that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally love that. I would love it if like Winds of Winter was just this like just became this sort of like just revealed to us all of these like eldritch horror sort of
Cool, I'm
aspects.
down.
You know, with
Yeah.
like the stuff that's gonna happen in Old Town with Euron. You know, I don't know how much of that's gonna happen. But it would be cool if, you know, Euron does some crazy eldritch shit down in Old Town, and it would be kind of cool if we find out that, you know, the Boltons have some sort of purpose, you know, have some sort of reason to be flaying all these people and keeping their skins.
I don't have enough I don't have enough evidence in my brain right now to really support what I'm about to say, but there is a theory. I think I talked about it on one of my shows. I can't remember which character. I want to say it was Jeremy Riker. Was wearing a sable cloak. And there's this weird characters that have worn sable cloaks are like kind of anti-Stark, anti-Warg hunters. Like there's this entire sable cloak society theory out there. And it's a lot of characters like Roose. So,
interesting.
Yeah, that have the theory, and I don't know how much validity there is to this, but the theory is of like this society of werewolf hunters, essentially.
The unassuming sable, the cute little. The thing no one would really warg because they wouldn't be very impressive or dangerous.
Yeah, there you go.
The cute little sable, but hey, make a coat out of them, and that's cool.
I can't remember enough.
That's interesting. That like out like around just the north or like everywhere. I mean, like
a lot of people on the
sable
wall.
coats have been popular in our world too.
So. A lot of people on the wall, and also I think like the Royces wore them too. Like I wish I think I came across this theory. I want to say like 20 or 2 years ago or a year ago. It was a bit, but yeah, I remember there was definitely like it was intriguing, but I wasn't fully sold. I think I brought it up on my Jeremy Riker video though, so I could actually probably go grab my old slides for that. But yeah,
that's interesting.
I do have a whole other slide that I literally put together while I was talking to you guys.
Right.
So yeah. So whenever we're ready for that one, we can. But I feel like we haven't goofed around for a little while though. Should I just start playing random clips until we get something going?
I would love nothing more.
It's what you love to do. It's why you do these streams. I don't. We're not going to deny you.
It's not even like something I've been doing with the whole streams. It was like the last like couple streams I've been like I finally got really good at downloading.
Giving you a new lease on life.
Yeah.
All right. Then here's this for you.
That was the sound of a tool chest falling down the stairs.
Lovely.
I don't know why Home Alone 2. I don't know why Lost in New York is such a well for me to grab for. All right, let's see what Chrissy's got going on. Real life Skinwalker Ranch. Legend says that to become a Skinwalker, part of the
killing your kin. Okay.
Oh yeah, all right. Makes the skin changing. Yeah, well that makes sense too because one would assume Starks and Boltons married way back in the day. One would assume that they were connected. We haven't actually heard that, but anytime big wars happen, you marry off, you know, the descendants of them to kind of keep peace.
Or even like I'm thinking about the dead Boltons presumably underneath the Dreadfort. Like what if they just take their skins before they're buried, you know?
Oh my god, probably.
Yeah.
Like a weird mummification of like, take my skin so you can visit me.
That's interesting.
Well, and then that goes on with bolt-on theory of Roose being a skin-changing vampire, which I
exactly
do love. I do love the skin-changing vampire theory of why do you keep Ramsay around? Well, because he kind of looks like him, so he can. It's like, dude, I'm keeping my next body around. I have to put up. This body has been rather unruly, but I need one to switch into. So then, but then wouldn't it be weird if like one day Roose Bolton, it's like, oh, Roose Bolton died, dang it. And then all of a sudden Ramsay like comes up, they're like, Ramsay, how are you doing? He's like, I'm doing rather good. Do you have any leeches? And they're like, okay, what? Like, they do not act the same.
I'm gonna be honest, I love that theory. I think it makes as much sense as anything, just because like I think like consciousness, and we're talking about ghosts, but like I said, like I was serious. Like the whole continent is haunted as shit. Like there are like the ghosts of, again, probably like millions of beings hanging around, and who knows how many humans in various ways. Like, so that is a thing that is possible and probably takes lots of different forms, like stemming from a basic like reality that you can disembody the consciousness or soul or whatever of a being and transfer it, store it, whatever. And so like that being the case, like we've only met a couple of people who we know can skin change other people, but it does imply there are other people out there who do it, and it even kind of implies there are other people out there who do it more successfully. And so, yeah, if you're looking around, which I suspect, whoever came up with that theory originally, had that in mind, like, okay, looking out for reasons to suspect someone of being one of these people that Martin has set up as a skin changer, a very successful, stable skin changer, living their second, third, fourth, fifth life.
Yeah.
It makes as much sense as anything. If it's not, I guess I'm saying if it's not Roose Bolton, then it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else out there in the story is known to Martin as being a second or third lifer, or more.
There's a bunch of like identity stuff going on with the Boltons, especially with like Theon. Theon having to forget about who he is and then assuming the role of Reek. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that are foreshadowing the Boltons having something else going on with the whole skin changing stuff. Interesting to think about.
There's like, the irony of like protest as confession, that part of their own lore is that they are werewolf hunters, that they're skin changer hunters, and their whole flaying people and does seem to probably have come from flaying Starks as a way to in some way saying like we're killing you because you're a skin changer, because you're a warg. Thus, we're going to take your skin. There, that being on some level then or now actually a confession, of or at least an irony, because maybe for some long period of time they've actually been, the head of House Bolton has been himself a skin changer. I mean, there's something to that, I think, for sure.
Well, I feel like there's like straight up two things I'm like can grab. Is one is Roose Bolton is a skin stealing vampire, sure, immortal because he is doing that. But I also do like the idea of the trophy hunting, of the I got a skin, a pelt, of the big bad evil Wolf King, and that's something that I've always enjoyed, of like what could you be really proud of? Taking down a Stark king, like a king of winter, who in some way is a straight up werewolf. Although they're not so much. They are more wargs and skin changing into wolves, but the symbolism there is
metaphorically,
metaphorically
a different kind of werewolf,
like literally a trophy, like they're trophy hunters. Is the symbolism I've always liked from the Boltons. But the icy tone and just the straight up vibe Roose gives off so reminds me of a immortal, of a Dracula, this like calm, kooky, like he doesn't need to move fast because he doesn't fear anybody or get worried ever because he's powerful, like that kind of vibe you get from Roose. But like he's definitely playing like a different game. He's definitely playing 40 chess against everybody else. Like I always get that vibe from him.
Or maybe he's lost in all the iterations some of the ability to have a personality, that's definitely possible. Merrick talks about.
Yeah. Of the every time you die, you lose a little bit of yourself. Yeah.
And I guess Viramir also describes a similar reality, not necessarily from experience, but from his own sort of skin changer lore about that you can't take it all with you, and then you sort of blend and lose some as you live on in your second life. But again, there could be other people who are more successful at that than the people who passed on whatever lore to Faramir.
Yeah. I have a weird confession when it comes to Varamir Sixskins. I hate him, and it's the only chapter I skip when I re-listen. I absolutely hate Varamir Sixskins chapter. And it's drags on. It is nasty. It's all just dark, and it's not fun in any way. And I want it to be over. And because I listen to the books, it's a slog, really long of a chapter. It's a hell of a prologue. Like he puts a lot in there.
It's a lot of exposition.
A lot of exposition. And once you know it, and I know what it is, I know everything I need to know about Skin Changers. I don't need any more from him. And I also know what he is foreshadowing, because the whole point is like giving us tidbits here. This is how you transfer your consciousness into a body. So we were thinking about that when Jon Snow dies. So once I have all that symbolism and all that knowledge, why do I need to read this again? Like, it's just dark and messed up, and he's literally like mind, assaulting somebody half the chapter, and it is not fun. It is just a really icky chapter. It makes me feel gross. So that one and half of a Arya chapter from Harrenhal I skip over. The other one is Chiswick's story that as a dad I don't need to listen to ever again. But that's some Arya Mountains Man stuff. But that's my fun Valimir fun fact is I don't like that chapter.
It's very gross.
There are a lot of chapters in this book series that are that I would not categorize as fun.
Yeah, 100%. And also like, but the funny thing is whatever you want to say about Martin's writing, he's equal parts almost everything. Like he does the horror really well, and he does world building really well, and what have you, and action really well, and all this stuff. One thing he does extremely well is comedy, right? Like he is super funny. There's a lot of really funny things, and a lot of times he'll pepper all that in together. We're in the middle of something that is kind of hard to get through. He'll give you something, he'll lift up, he'll give you some levity. He'll lift up the situation. And you don't get any of that in Valimir Sixskins chapter. And a couple of them you don't. Like, and you know what? That's fine. They're not there's chapters that are supposed to make me feel certain ways. Like, don't make the Red Wedding fun. It's not supposed to be fun. It's the freaking Red Wedding. You're supposed to feel dread and die with a character. But at the same time, I'm just at work and I just got a book in an ear, and maybe sometimes I don't want to hear that crap. So I'll just jump over it. Like, okay, I know it. And especially when you already know the series as well as we do, what are we gaining of hearing something that's literally going to ruin our moods.
Mhm.
And also, one thing George is really good at is writing. He's too good at it, and that is his like really horny sex scenes where I'm like at work and I'm hearing him describe like freaking what's her
Fat
name?
pink mast.
Yeah, the fat pink mask. No,
Tired?
no, what's
That's a
her
great
name?
line.
The Martell. It's not Ariane.
Ariane?
Yeah, Ariane Martell. Like his whole sex scene with her and Ares Oakheart. I'm like sitting at work and I'm like looking around like, ooh, I should probably skip this chapter. Holy crap. Jeez, do we gotta hear about how dark and big her nips are so much? George, calm down. Like George, like, you know, he pops a bottle of wine when he's writing that scene. Like, ooh, we're getting into it today. Yeah. Sorry. I have 2 more castles now that we can
All right.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about running out now. So we can get back into it. Thank you guys for putting up with me being half paying attention so I can rock out 2 more. But,
No worries.
so we have where was I at? We still have Hardhome. Which one we were still technically Dreadfort, right? Was that the last one I read?
Yeah, the
Dreadfort.
Dreadfort was the last one we did. And I think there's also the Whispers that we didn't talk about.
We have Whispers, Hardhome, and Nightfort, and now we have the Crypts of Winterfell and Old Stones. So yeah.
And Old Stones.
And yeah, so this was literally me just grabbing a little bit of information. They're not going to be as flowery written as my other ones because I just put the information on the didn't write them as fun. But yeah, so where do we want to go? Do we want to go north or Riverlands? We have or Crownlands. We have a lot more up north, but we can go. We can take a break from the north.
Crownlands. Let's go. What do you
All
got?
right. We got the Whispers. So if you do know me, you know I love Nimble Dick and the character, not just agile.
Not only.
Yeah, not only. I mean, who doesn't love a good Nimble Dick? But no, Nimble Dick is absolutely one of my favorite characters, and his story of the Whispers is a favorite of mine. He also, of course, talks about the Squishers, which I do have a fan theory for, which everybody else has one too. The Squishers are great. Oh yeah, Moonman, when are you going to talk about Squishers? I know it's going to happen. I know you have a Squishers. Do you have anything?
I mean, I know I'll use some footage from Creature from the Black Lagoon, but beyond that, I don't know.
You should go with what's it called? Shape of Water. If you use Squishers, you should go with Making Out with a Chick in the lab.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, he got it from Creature, so
yeah, but
like, you know, I'm just gonna go back to the original. You know, look, man, my theories, even the ones down the line, I mean, I have smaller ones, aren't this like the ones I have ambition to actually get out, or they're more political,
big, heavy, political,
than like what monsters. But I do have 2.
I just know that any theorist, once they learned about Squishers, every theorist has a little bit of Squisher, right? I mean, then you got like David Lightbringer, who's like, the Squishers made Mount Kalen, and it's like, oh my god, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. But all right, let's talk about the Whispers. One of my favorites. So the Whispers is a ruined castle of House Crab on Crackclaw Point. According to legend, the ancient castle received its name from the whispering heads of victims of Sir Clarence Crab, a fabled knight of Crabclaw Point. Whenever Clarence would kill men, including lords, wizards, knights, and pirates, and once a king of Duskendale, he would cut off their heads, bring it back to his castle to his wife, who was a wood witch. There she would kiss the head and bring it back to life, and the heads would then talk to each other and give Clarence counsel, creating a whispering sound. Now that's how you do a haunted castle. Yeah, that's a haunted.
Wow.
Come on, that's some haunted castle stuff. It's just a whole bunch of severed heads. Like, I think you should do this. Look at it. Woo! Yeah.
So what's great about like this and so much of the like the lore that you hear about in the stories is it sounds. It's actually I mean it's one of like the fundamental like conceits I think that he's working with is like that sounds perfectly like bullshit, like old wives' tales or like you know, the nonsense stories. But on the other hand, you know, one of the first thing, I mean, very early on, we see like from the in the prologue, we see the ice elf creatures, and then we hear about how actually everybody knows about them. Oh, but only from the old wife telling her tales, and nobody thinks they're around or maybe were ever real. And so you're like, oh, the old wives' tales are real. But then the actual twist is, but all the details of the old wives' tales are wrong. And actually, there's no way. There is no rule. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't. Is it complete horseshit, or is the point that there is that half of it's true? There's no simple heuristic you can use to divine that. But like bringing corpse parts back to life.
Now,
consciousness is remaining active after what we would think of as death.
We've seen all that.
You know, like...
And there's one detail here, right?
Yeah.
Is how does she bring them back? With a kiss, which is the exact way that we've seen people brought back. It doesn't say with a spell. It doesn't say with a potion, right? It's a kiss,
Right.
and that's how all the resurrection that we have seen firsthand, at least.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you want to say Robert Strong in the mountain, like I don't think Chiron's down there making out with the mountain's body, but most of them, maybe, we don't know, but most of them were via the last kiss. So, like, that's fact. So are we gonna call the rest of it garbage? Because that's actually straight up something that we've seen, you know. So that's what I love is like, oh, let's make this crazy, weird story of this Clarence the Crab talking to all these heads, and then use the detail of the resurrection is something based more in fact, you know, or whatever you want to call it. Not fact, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to use the word canon around Moonman now because he's such a hardcore nihilist, such a canon atheist down there.
I mean, you know, I wouldn't. I believe in an atheist, no, a nihilist, no. Taco have touched the mind of God.
Oh, wow.
And I must therefore preach his gospel.
Oh, so you're a prophet.
I'm no atheist. I believe in a God, and I believe that he has a word and that it is given to us. And I believe he has plans for us all. Okay.
Okay.
I just don't think, and this
you're
is the
app. You're gonna drop
comparison.
the symbolism because it's starting to freak me out. But yeah,
this is the app comparison. I just don't think. I don't think the concept of canon, like, which is to
say that it's in stone.
To select what I mean, you know, the Catholic concept of canon, you know, to determine what is the word of God. I think if that's all you mean, well, then that's pretty obvious. The books are the books, you know. But if you mean to take it beyond that, I don't think it's a useful. This is not interesting to anyone. But I don't think it's a useful frame for how to think about analysis of this stuff.
I think creating so when I say canon, I'm creating a line, which hear me out completely. That's just difference between fan theory and on the page, right?
Yeah.
Like I know I can tell you Ned Stark was a character and that he gets beheaded in the first book. You can't tell me that's fan theory. But if if you then start saying, well, Jon Snow is absolutely Lyanna's kid, I'd say, we're all pretty much agree that he is at this point. Like R plus L equals J, we could almost all of us pretty much just treat that as it is, but it isn't. And that's then your difference. I wouldn't call that, as I'm going to say, canon, because we're never told that. Now, then you have your different layers of theory. But I just use it when somebody's like, well, because Maegor was brought back to life after by Tyenna Towers after his trial. I'm like, whoa. Sure, you can go ahead and think that, but don't go just in the problem with treating theories as solid stone is people use those as building blocks, and that is my least favorite type of theory crafting, is that you now use theories as your stone, and you're like, well, since Maegor was brought back to life, which we don't have proof for, but I'm going to pretend we do, and since we know Shiera Seastar is the same thing as Quaithe, and it's like, we don't, then this, and people do that all the time. So I like to just use the clarification between text that we see, and yes, that might not be solid either, because we have seen unreliable narratives. We 100%, like, Sansa has lied to us. She thinks that the Hound kissed her on the last time they see each other, and as far as we know, we saw that he didn't. So we do have unreliable narratives, but the best we can still try to craft that as solid, opposed to theories. And that's what I say canon is just to differentiate what the fandom has said and what the word. And I try to then completely separate them in my videos where I tell you everything we know. And then it's on the last slide separately. I say, and this is what the fans think. So I don't pepper that in and try to drop. I try to drop all biases until the end. Well, with that, I mean, I have my own personal biases. You can't completely. But what I'm getting at is if I present a character with fan theory bias inside, that would be, in my eyes, dishonest, right? If I just in the middle of explaining a character, if I'm like Willis Manderly, blah 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 blah, cannibal. Why is he a cannibal? Well, because all of his family are cannibals, and it's something that they brought back all the way from the Mander, and that's why Wyman Manderly eats people too. It's like, whoa, all that should be brought up in the last chapter. Why are you saying that crap in the middle of the description? And
because it makes it less useful as as research if you don't separate those things, which is trouble with a lot. Yeah, it is the trouble with a lot of things. If you have to, it's useful to understand what what the text says, and then what is interpretation of that. It's useful to make that distinction and to separate that just as a research tool.
That's why
so you can go to your videos if I'm thinking about some random character, and you've already collected the all the research on that guy,
getting there.
Can make some connections
and I want you to be able to go I'm working on a video and I need to know what the text says about blank, and where I am. And then if you're like, but I want to know, something crazy with it, so maybe somebody else is, and then you can go to Michael talks about stuff where he's like, Nettles is the same as Old Nan, and you're like, okay, here we go. But you're not going to hear that from me until I get to the end. But that's why I will defend using the term canon, just because I think I have a different because I have more of a pop culture. I don't know what canon Catholicism is because I was raised as an actual atheist.
I think you're using it in the Catholic sense.
I am. Okay.
But
I'm defending why
in general what people mean, what it seems like people mean when they say it's a lot of the time is what really happened. We're determining the canon. Yeah. We're trying to figure out what was the real thing. What is the real truth here? Which that's the thing that I don't think is really useful as nailing that down, because all you're doing is theorizing. So
because the difference between what actually happened and what's in the text is separate, but I'm not saying it's separate. I'm just saying it's in the text. I'm just saying it's in the text. I'm not going to say, that we know what happened here or there, because we don't. A lot of, I mean, we talk about we went on and on in one of my favorite segments the last time I had you on, Moonman, of talking about kind of the overarching point of the books in a big thing of like big themes that what he was getting into. And I believe Viper was saying earlier of identity and that not only Theon, but every character that has a title of their chapter that isn't their name, they're fighting with their identity. And it's so weird, especially Theon. Theon's like number one, right? His entire arc is about his identity.
I think he's the first as well. Or no, that can't be right.
No, because he's later in Dance, and the first time we see it is in Feast. So probably Ares Oakheart or no, I think Arya Hota
Are there none in Storm?
is really early on, and he's just the Watcher. Because Arya never gets named. He doesn't have a chapter called Arya. But all the other characters that the whole arc or a lot of their arc is about identity, there's so many. But like Jon Snow is constantly saying, am I a Snow? Am I a Stark? Am I a human, or am I just a fighter on the wall? Do any of my inhibitions matter? That's all identity. And then you have Arya, who changes her name every freaking chapter. And then at the end, it's her trying to tell herself that she doesn't have an identity. But like literally, she goes from Arya to Ari to Weasel to Nan to all these different names. And then literally right now, her peak of her arc is saying, I am no one. That's all identity. So
props for being able to recall all of the Clash and all of her Clash of Kings.
If you want me to do this really quick, I just worked on my what's the difference for Jack and Hagar. So my what's the difference? Let's talk about the difference is a series I do where I talk about characters.
Yeah.
Your video the show, yeah. So I just worked on a video for Jack and Hagar. So I just re-listened to those chapters. So that's how I was able to say Arya, Ari.
Cool.
Yeah. That comes out in like a month. But yeah. I'm really far ahead. We're hoping to move soon. I don't like get too much in my personal life, but we just bought a house, so I'm like trying to.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm trying to set myself up that I know I'm gonna go like 2 or 3 weeks that I can't film, and I'm gonna still be able to do 2 videos a week.
Yeah,
so
fun.
I'm pretty backed up, but yeah, I'm backed up if you know what I mean. We want to do a house. We still haven't done one. I said we're gonna do one.
Let's do it.
And then we didn't do it. Oh wait, did we do? No, we did the Whispers. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, the Whispers.
We got anything else about good old Nimble Dick? One of my favorite characters.
He deserved better. That's all.
Yeah.
You know and remember who killed him?
Oh, I forget who killed him. I knew he got.
I think it's gonna be one of my. I've been doing trivia every morning now instead of
who killed Nimble Dick Crab?
Yeah, it's gonna be my trivia. Do you remember?
I do not remember. No.
Go ahead.
Is it one of Randall Tarley's men?
No, it is a brave companion.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that's an O. God, sometimes I forget that I'm one of the few dudes who like constantly goes over and over and over. So a lot of my like what I consider secondhand knowledge, it's secondhand knowledge because I am nuts with it. You know,
I'm working on my second read through of the series, bro. Okay, and I'm a slow fucking reader too. All right, I'm halfway through Storm for the second time.
Ooh, yeah, but I've
read a lot of. For research purposes, I've actually read, a quarter of Storm a whole other time, and Dance and Clash. I've read, a lot of it a whole other time. Half of it I've read again for researching, but just as reading through, I'm only on my second.
I think I must be at 5 or 6. So here's a really cool thing. David reads. I don't know. You probably read books like an adult. I do audio. But David reads on YouTube. Somebody compiled his chapters into the A Feast with Dragons order.
Yeah.
So combining the Feast for Crows with the Dance of Dragons, and
that's how I read it the first time.
bro. It is a good way to do it. And
okay.
like I waited until like my third, and also it's like a 90 chapter freaking playlist because it's so much. But it's cool to go through them normal the first time, but the second time it's really cool to like see it chronologically and not flipping back.
This time I'm gonna read them separately as the published books to get that flavor off it. But by the time I got to Feast, I was already thrumming at such a vibration that I wanted to understand things. Like I wanted to open my third eye more than I wanted to like feel the flow of
I feel
the book, you know.
Yeah,
which,
you weren't here for sides anymore. You wanted to eat the steak.
Yeah, and so I decided to do it that way. But yeah.
I mean, it's a way to go. I want to go back in time because most of the fans, me included, came into the fandom after Dances came out, and the wait between Dance and Wins is like our reality is the only reality we know. But man, the wait between Feast and Dance must have been weird because you didn't see any of the characters. You only got half the freaking story. You probably think Davos is dead because Cersei just says it. She's like, "Oh, I heard they killed Davos Seaworth." Okay, and you're like, "Huh? What?" But we, of course, are able to get through Dance, and we know that Wyman Manderley faked his death. But there's like a few years there where people just probably thought Davos was dead, dude. Like, and it really does make you think of what we don't freaking know at all of like whole books. Like he sets up punchlines for books later. And here's another one. Do you remember which book Reek comes back? Clash is when Theon gets taken out. When's the first Reek chapter? You guys remember?
Dance.
It's Dance, right?
Dance.
Yeah.
Dance.
Yeah.
3 freaking books. That's 3 books of Theon being dead. Deader than
he was dead.
He was
or
dead.
Well, I mean, they talk about him as like rumored, like he's either dead or being tortured, you know.
Yeah, but he's
like,
not a character. You're definitely not.
No,
you're not feeling the impact.
And you do at that point, you do assume, like, well, yeah, I mean, like
we'll never see.
They flay people alive. They send his a piece
body
of his
parts.
skin to Rob, you know, and so you're like, well, okay, if they are really they were torturing this guy, but you know that ends at some point.
Yeah, I really
not with Ramsay.
Plus, like Theon's not in the book with all of the other Greyjoys, so it's like,
you're right.
Not
right? Well, man, God, yeah, you're right because the book of
the Greyjoy book,
3 new people. Well, it's hard to call Feast the Greyjoy book just because Dance has all of Vic's good shit. Is like Dance because.
But Feast is when it gets like introduced with all of the
Aeron
stuff and Asha.
That's Kingsmoot. Kingsmoot is Feast. And Kingsmoot, I mean, man, I've often thought of like, do I do a top 10 chapters of the whole series? And there's just like no way. I think I would have to do like a top 5 of each book, and that would even be like hard enough. But it's hard to not put Kingsmoot like in the top. Like, dude, how is there not more fan theories for freaking Gilbert Farwind? Like that dude, like his eyes are constantly changing color, and he's like, "Let's sail west where we all can be kings." And it's like, what's going on with this fucking guy?
Or George could have just forgotten his eye color. You know that happens.
No, this time it's literally. You're right. That he does do that over here where he forgets something and it changes. But no, your Aeron Damphair looks in his eyes and sees them constantly changing colors in his face. Like they are changing colors. And it's what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Gilbert Farwind. And I also, every time I talk about Gilbert Farwind, I have to do a Gilbert Godfrey impression for him. Jeez, we can all be kings. Let's go. Not my best, but my throat's kind of sore. I didn't want to jump into Gilbert. All right. All right. So we went to the Crownlands. We got 3 north places to go.
Got you.
And then Riverlands. So
I am so sorry, but I think the next castle is going to be my last castle. I have an assignment due today at midnight, and it is currently 9:12 p.m.
No, that's fine. I don't know if I warned you that we go around 3 to 4.
3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 is my, once we get past 3, like we can go free form at that point. Like I try to get to 3 and then whenever it ends, it ends. Yeah. But if you want the last castle to be the last castle, do you want Crypts of Winterfell, Old Stones, Hardhome, or the Nightfort?
I would love to do the Crypts of Winterfell.
Well, I wrote it literally for you, so let's go.
Yay!
I wrote it as we were talking.
I was going to say, we could probably skip Winterfell. Doesn't sound that interesting, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right. Crypts of Winterfell, also called the Crypts Beneath Winterfell, is located beneath Winterfell. Imagine that. Thanks, Mark. I wrote this while I was talking to you guys. It contains tombs of the members of House Stark. It is a chilly, deep crypt, is a symbol of a narrow and winding spiral stone steps, which lead to multiple levels. One floor contains a long line of granite pillars, 2 by 2, between which are entombed the dead of House Stark. It has vaulted ceilings. While all family members can have tombs in the crypt, statues are traditionally made only for kings of Winterfell. The cavernous vault is larger than Winterfell itself. Holy crap. With older Starks buried in deeper and darker levels. The lowest level is said to be partly collapsed. The most recent tombs within the crypt are those of Lord Rickard Stark and his children, Brandon and Lyanna. The tombs further back, empty and unsealed, are saved for current and future members of House Stark. Whew, there you guys go.
Yeah,
the question is,
there's a lot there.
What
if we run out of room?
Yeah, that's one question. Well, I was to say, like, are they put them in the crypts to keep them alive or to keep them dead?
So there is the whole, they put iron swords across the statue's laps. And that is to keep the dead from rising. And waking stone giants, these statues are huge. What would you want to call a giant? 10 foot, 9 foot tall? These things are at least that. We know that they're pretty big. So there is the waking stone giants from underneath the earth, of them possibly being of the waking of the literal tombs, or either the dead Starks themselves or actually the statues coming to life. I've heard a lot of those theories, which I think Viper has as well. But yeah.
I'd like to do some theory crafting. So, like, what do you think, guys? What do you guys think will be?
We don't know that, Christy. We only know him. Sorry to interrupt, Viper. Keep going.
No worries. What do you guys think will be like the last battle with the dead in the books? Because we know in the show that there's the whole long night that lasted one night.
Yeah.
Winterfell, the whole thing. Do you think the dead are going to stop at Winterfell, or do you think we're going to keep
I
on
would
going?
love for them to keep going. Like, I would love for Winterfell to be a loss. Like, we lost at Winterfell. Yes. And also because why would you want to fight the dead when you're literally... the castle that you're on is smaller than the graveyard it's above.
That is very true.
All those Starks just come up. It's like, whoops.
Yep.
We probably should have gone somewhere else. Whoever KP is nailed it there is, fighting at the God's Eye makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Also,
makes a lot of sense. I agree.
Wishing your professor to be sent to the gulag. So that's a little harsh.
Yeah, that's a little intense.
It's a little harsh.
Hey,
okay.
Depending on the discipline we're talking about, maybe this professor could use a new skill like mining or logging. Okay,
depending on the gulag that day.
It's creative writing for video games. It's such a cool class.
Oh, that is a cool class.
Yeah,
no gulag.
No, we're fine. My prof is cool.
Creative writing for
Sure.
video games. We used to have to study history and stuff back in the day. But,
Oh, I'm doing that too. I'm doing that too now.
I loved creative writing class. I had that classic like 80-year-old pothead like lived through the 60s teacher who was really, his first name was Stern.
Oh, okay.
Stern McMullen, and he was just
Stern
like,
McMullen.
yeah, just this 80-year-old just yeah, Stern. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, my name's Stern. Holy crap, are you Stern? No, I'm a chill hippie.
Speaking for myself, I would say
I'm not leaving. I'm just.
I would go learn a new skill if it meant everyone who had been trained in the discipline that I was would also have to go become a logger or a miner out somewhere and contribute to society. I would be willing. I would help round the people with my degree up and put them on the trains, and then step on myself if that's what it took, because they're really not doing us any good, and we don't need them.
Yeah, the idea that the people who are teaching us trades have not worked in said trades. I feel like that's. I mean, most of my teachers that I was in art school were like, they weren't straight out of college and just going right to. Most of them actually did have credentials, and it was actually good to like hear about that. Like our animation teacher worked in animation for 20 years, like things like that. But for the most part, it does. I mean, that kind of sucks in all industries. Like, you know, I'm a factory worker now, and you can always tell when we have a boss who didn't work in the crappy parts of the factory very long or at all, because they'll be like, oh yeah, why don't we just do 3 knife changes and who cares? And it's like, well, I know you don't know this because you're pampered and you're down in your office, but a knife change is an hour of work for somebody. It's going to completely break their back, and you're just tossing that work out without ever thinking about what it's actually doing to the human, because you never had to go up through it. So like that, there's that whole, the person being in charge and not ever actually grinding reminds me a lot of the professor who never actually had to deal with what they're teaching as a job. But if that's what you were getting at, Moonman.
No, there are no jobs in the degree that I have. There never have been, really. It's not that kind of thing, you know. I have, you know, a well, I won't like people, you know. I'll leave that as you know, undetermined lore,
canon, if you will.
Figure out what you know. Think of the most useless and antisocial and off-putting academic disciplines, and you may come up with the group of people I would like to ship to the gulags, myself among them.
All right, well, as long as you're going to, because I am not a pro gulag man, except for the people who invented the gulags, they can get sent to the gulags. But so do we got anything else for the Crypts of Winterfell before Viper gets out of here and it's just me and Moonman being weird?
Anything else for the Crypts of Winterfell?
Do you think that they are going to be in play at the end?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm thinking maybe even like at the end or somewhere in Winds, right? I'm thinking that like Winds might end with like a catastrophe, like the walls been destroyed via the Horn of Winter or something else, and the dead maybe like take Winterfell, or I don't know. I think I definitely think that Winterfell, there's going to be like a battle at Winterfell involving the dead that we're going to see. I don't think it's going to be the final battle, though.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I've always liked the idea that this was originally a generational story and that these characters were supposed to age. Of course, there was a fabled 5-year time gap that never happened.
Yeah.
But it's coming, baby. It's coming.
It could happen. It could happen between Winds and Dance, or Winds and Spring. Yeah.
And man, do
Dance
I want
and Winds.
Yeah, there you go. That's why it's taking so long. They set us up for all these battles, and we hear about them 20 years later. There you go. Except we have 10.
Hear about them in remembrance. Yeah.
Except we have 10 preview chapters, and all of them are directly after.
That shit's all left over from Dance. That doesn't mean
Right.
shit.
It is all
I'm putting
left
this mark. I'll put this marker down now. When it happens, when the first chapter of The Winds of Winter is Dany on a ship, like remembering shit that's happened to her over the last years, and only at the end do you realize she's on the narrow sea. You remember that I told you first.
all right.
We'll see.
I do want time skip in only because I really want to see like this being all set up for how these characters are going to be as adults. Like, I don't like the idea of our hero being a 10-year-old. I do want to see Arya as an adult, or Bran as an older tree wizard, so and so forth. And as great of a leader as we've been learning that Jon is, at the end of the day, he is 19 or 20 or whatever, and is he going to really rule the kingdom? It would be cool for a time gap, and then older, more mature people. Maybe because I'm in my 30s and I don't like the idea that all the heroes have to be their 20s. Boo.
Yeah.
John can have a dog bed next to the Iron Throne.
Yeah, for himself.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna be a ghost, which is a dog. What type of feather did Robert place? Was it a feather? I thought it was a. Was it a feather he put in?
Flower? It's got to be autocorrect.
I thought it was a flower. No,
was that a typo?
She said
a
barn
typo?
owl. No, it's not a typo. She literally says barn owl. That's a feather.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Let's find out. Maybe if I type Robert Baratheon, I'll get to that chapter really quick. But
is there anything haunted about why Lyanna has a statue?
I don't think there's any haunted. I think that Ned broke a crap ton of traditions for absolutely no reason, because he loved his sister and brother and made them statues because Ned's a butthole. I honestly think it's why do I have to follow tradition? I love my family, which is lame.
I think it's because Brandon and Ned were disinherited, and some people alive know that or could know, but he didn't want to mention that. So when Lyanna was missing and Brandon and Rickard died, people looked at him like he was the Lord, and he didn't say anything. And when Brandon died, since maybe most people didn't know, or he didn't know anyway, he makes a statue of both of them because then, either that Brandon was not disinherited, so that the inheritance passes through him, so he has to have been the Lord at some point, unless he dies first, but whatever. But he makes the statue of Lyanna so that if it ever comes out that she was disinherited in some document, that he was disinherited in some document, then he can say, well, yeah, no, I know that. See, so she was actually the Lady of Winterfell, and I was her heir, which might also be why Jon Snow is his child, is posing as his child, because otherwise Jon Snow would be the Lyanna's heir to Winterfell.
Yeah.
That's a little more complex than I would give Ned, but I don't. But
yeah, maybe it's feudal inheritance. It's like it's like oh shit, you're still alive when I find you.
Oh, because she was a queen. There's another.
People have been calling me the Lord of Winterfell, and I haven't told them any different. So
yeah.
But then as an insurance policy later, if anyone finds out, he's like, well, yeah, I'm the Lord of Winterfell because I was Lyanna's heir. Yeah. Even though Rickard disinherited me.
But you think Rickard disinherited Ned?
Well, it makes sense for that.
What?
For explains that. That's all.
Okay, all right. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying. If you want to explain that, I do think it's just the easier of he broke tradition because Ned's a big old softie. But I'm trying to find. I'm not finding anything about her putting which feather, and I would have to go to the actual chapter. Because I just read the wiki for that chapter, and it just says what Robert was saying while she was there. It doesn't say anything about him putting a feather on him. But yeah, doing my best. But no, I'm not seeing what he put on the statue. Yeah, that's it. No, I got nothing. I tried. Viper, do you want to get out of here?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Nice to meet you, Viper.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, I tried to have. I was gonna have both of you guys be brand new last time, but something came up for Viper, so I'm glad I got you. I thought I thought maybe you watched some of my stuff and you're like, I'm not hanging out with this dude for 3 hours. But no, I'm glad I got you now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. I'm totally down for coming to another stream.
Yeah. Open invite.
All right.
Where you see it, whenever I say this is open invite for anyone who sees it, I mean it. Anyone can come in, and especially if you've been on before and you kind of get our vibe, then yeah, no, you're 100%. If you want, when I schedule the next one, I'll let you know when it is, and if you can do it, then heck yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks once more for having me. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good one. All right. Now that all that riffraff is gone,
who's going to be the final girl?
All right. That being said, I'm going to play another screen, but this one isn't Matthew Lillard. It's not the final girl either.
He's big and he plays football, and he'll kick the shit out of you!
There you go. I'm glad that I'm the only one who's loving the screen videos. I feel like I needed Tom, I needed Tom from Interesting Nerd Club first for the screen vids. Moonman, you're such a not expression guy. So sometimes I'll like go up full on goof and you'll just like it's the hardest audience, dude. Like I know that you're not hating me. Like I've talked to you. I know you
don't know that. I
think you don't. So like I just go, okay, that's fine, and I'll just move past it. Man, it's a hard audience sometimes. The audience are oil painting. I gave them the invite. They all have Halloween stuff, which everybody does. They all had their own Halloween traditions that they had to do. I would have loved to have them though.
Not me.
Yep, not. I already did mine. We already trick or treated today and did a bunch of stuff, and I was able to get the little one to bed before this. So yeah. But
last year was my last year trick or treating.
Finally, it's about time. Yeah. No, my little one's only 4, and we're probably starting all over again here soon. So I see many a year of trick or treating in my future. At a certain point, I want to know when I have to stop buying new costumes because I save them. Like, at what point can I just be like, can I do Charizard again this year, honey? Why do I got to spend $50 more?
The guy I knew in LA was for years. He wasn't anymore when I knew him, but for years he'd worked in makeup effects.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That was like a dream job. If I could do it, like that's a dream job I've always wanted. But yeah,
pretty cool. And so you can imagine Halloween is an important day of the year for that part of the business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
like it's fucking serious, right? They go to parties together.
And they go all out.
At the big honchos, like throw parties at their places or at big bars and stuff, and like everybody comes fucking done, full prosthetic effects like in a fucking movie, okay? And so he's telling me the story. He did this for years, and he would go all out, doing these super elaborate costumes with prosthetic makeup and gore and like all this shit, and he's like, it's great, it's fun, I love it, but at some point, like 9 or 10 years in, he's like, okay, I've done this. I've done all the insane costumes I ever want to. Fucking Halloween. I'm tired of being fucking cold all night.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm tired of having a prop in my hand and a prosthetic like gore thing going on here, so I can't hold a fucking
prosthetics
beer.
Don't feel good. Like having things glued to you don't feel good.
Nightmarish.
It's glue. Yeah.
So what he did, he made his final costume. He had it commissioned. He designed and had somebody, you know, a costumer make him a giant. Oh, he's tired of it being a pain in the ass to take a piss, you know? So he made a giant colorful zip up plushy dinosaur where the head's on top, his face comes out the neck. He has like mitten gloves that fold over to keep warm, but also flip off so you can hold a beer. It zips down the front so he can pee, and he just keeps it in a duffel bag, like it stuffs a little bit like a sleeping bag, you know, and it's warm as hell. It has like soles on the feet, and they like lace up like their comfortable sneakers built into it, you know. So he just puts that on, and that's it. He's like, for the rest of my life, I did that thing.
That's awesome.
I'm doing this, and sounds great.
I think when you get to the point where what your motivation for dressing up is, his motivation seemed social, hanging out, go to a party, you know, like that kind of stuff, or just hang, you know. Right now, my motivation for dressing up is to keep my kid happy and excited and love Halloween, right? Yeah. Keep the magic of Halloween. And I don't think that means I can change my costume every year, because I think it makes the magic feel a little less magical when you break up like, oh, it's not worth, you know, expressing myself differently every Halloween. So until the message of Halloween and the point of Halloween isn't tied to my kid, like I feel like then I can finally like screw it. I'll keep the Charizard onesie because it's easy and warm, and it is warm. I wanted to get to something Christy said. So I have a friend other than you, Christy.
Christy, that's the one person watching this who keeps commenting, right?
Yeah, well, the one person commenting. There's more people watching, but y'all are being silent today. It's been a silent day. I don't know why, but the comments have not been going off. But it's cool. But no, Christy says that Australia, it's not really too much. So I have a friend who lives in Australia, who I got to see what her costume and her daughter's costume is today. And she lives like, is it Gold Coast? Like she's that side. I don't know if it's just where she's at or the fact that she's like doing social stuff with her kid, but I got to see her costume. So maybe she's one of the weird ones that celebrate Halloween, or
what do you can do? Walk a mile to the next house?
Yeah, I
like
guess.
Just a trick or treat at one door.
But she lives in a city, you know, so maybe it's different. I don't know.
City.
It's still a city. it's a city. I live in a city in North Dakota, which isn't a city for anybody else, right? And I'm about to move to a small town, which is a real like.
There's a black creature behind you.
Yeah, I know. It's Capone. He keeps messing with me, and now he's messing with me this way too.
I'm just kidding. I love Australians. I'll never go there. Those fucking spiders, get the fuck out of it. I will never set foot on that continent.
Dude,
one of my closest friends in the world.
You live in a place where
Australia, where she lives for the last 20 fucking years. And it'll never happen. I'm not going.
I grew up in a place where it's too cold for the spiders to live a whole year, and then I moved where you live, and I saw like a whole house full of wolf spiders, and I was like,
"Oh, Seattle is overrun by two kinds of spiders,
the big fat garden ones and the wolf spiders.
They're fucking harmless.
Yeah, but they're terrifying if you never seen them.
The cave spiders, the northern European cave spider that infests every home in the Puget Sound region. The little tarantulas.
Oh yeah, I thought they were wolf spiders.
Yeah, I grew up calling them that too. Yeah. I think that's what we call them around here.
Yeah, they're all over. Yeah, and they're terrifying. They're scary.
Yeah, like they look like tarantulas, only brown and small. They're that type of hairy bodied thing, and they're in your house. And in the winter, they come. I think it's the males come ranging to look for a mate, and I once years ago in my parents' house where I grew up, I was reading a book in bed shirtless. I just want everyone to.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thanks, man.
My teenage self. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, so why'd you have to add that? I didn't like that. We could have kept that one out, but all right.
I guess I was trying to imply I was better looking. That's probably not true.
No, it's funny. You're like, yeah, no, shirtless objectify me. I was underage, you weirdo. Like, why'd you say the first part of it? All right, keep going.
But anyway, and I'm reading a book in bed, just lying there, and I feel a tickle. And I'm like, that's nothing. That's just my skin crawling. And I'm reading, and I just keep reading. And I feel a tickle, and that's nothing. That's just my skin crawling. I keep reading. And I look, eventually I'm like, okay. And I look down, and there is one of the biggest fucking ones I've ever seen. Like leg span, like this shit. Just crawling across my chest. And I leapt and swept. And my entire body, like, I didn't even use my legs, and I like my pushing my ass off the bed. I actually launched like 7 feet across the room and landed like a cat.
And then he did
and then I spent the next hour hunting it down to kill it.
Yeah. Oof. One of my first jobs I got while I was there, I was helping a dude remodel his house, and he had a basement, but a part of his house that didn't have the basement was kind of like what you would call like a mud room, you know, right? Like there's a deck and then the first little bit. And he wanted me to put insulation underneath it. So I'm crawling. I got about 1.5 feet between like floorboards above me and then dirt. And I got a flashlight in my mouth and I'm stapling insulation and I'm crawling on my back and stapling more. And I'm doing that, doing it for, 3 or 4 hours. Just like, just the spider just went across my face and my mouth is open. So the first thing I did was spit the flashlight out, but then I didn't want, so I could shut my mouth, but then I didn't want to startle it and have it bite me in the face. So I just chilled as it moved off me. And then I crawled out and I had to have a little mini freak out. So I've never seen a spider bigger than like a dime from around here. Like maybe they get a slightly bigger, but they don't get too big around here. You get a little creepy crawly little house spiders, but that was the first time like you could feel every leg individually, and I'm like, oh my God. And that freaked me out. I didn't go back underneath there for a little while, and I was like, can I like smoke it out in there? Like, can I grab the fire extinguisher, just shoot it down in there, wait like an hour, and then go and finish? Like, cause that freaked me out, dude. But yeah, that's spiders are fun, but Australia is scarier. They got the scary ones. Leanna went into stone. Okay, now we got going on. Her statue does not have any stone. Yeah, that's true. All right. Let's get away from the Kurtz of Winterfell. We got 3 more, and we don't have to be going on for too much longer if we don't want. So we can start rocking these out if you want. Mooney, if I can call you Mooney. I can't. Never mind.
No, never do that again.
Sorry. Manny?
No, you can call me Mooney. No, Mooney, that's going to be the name for my viewers, or subscribers to my theories. The school of thought. I don't have
a name. Cult of Taco? Yeah, all right. Now I have a name. Okay, give me 2 seconds. All right. Old Stones. This is one I put together as we were talking too. I even got the right font too. So let's get into some Old Stones, because I really like that the state of the castle now is literally just the tomb. Old Stones is the name given by the small folk of a ruined castle in the northern Riverlands.
The Muds, right?
House Mud. Yeah. Yep. The House of Mud, if you will. If you like National Lampoon Vacation references out of nowhere. It is the original. Its original name has been lost to time.
Great movie.
The ruined stronghold sits on a hill above the Blue Fork of the Trident. The overgrowth and stony road slowly grows twice around the hill. I don't know what that means. The road goes twice around the hill before reaching a summit. Only the foundation remains among the weeds to show where the dismantled walls of Old Stones once stood. There was once Jenny hanging out at Old Stones. On the way to the twins, Robb, the King of the North and the Trident, encamped upon the ruins of Old Stone atop the hill, recalling the fate of Christopher Mudd, and Robb discusses with her father to whom he should name his successor. So he is literally just standing over a tomb of Christopher Mudd as he has that fabled conversation that a lot of us have now talked about of what's going on with Robb's will. But this was the start of the Robb's will talk, which was on the way to the twins, on his way to his death. He finally wrote a will down. Did he know he was going to die? Probably not, but that's kind of ironic that 2 days before he died, he's like, so what if I die? I mean, we're going to a wedding. They suck around here. Yeah, so what do you think of Old Stones? Because we got Jenny of Old Stones who used to hang out with the Ghost of Highheart there. So that kind of is weird that I just straight up called Ghost of Highheart a child of the forest, but either a woods witch or a child of the forest, if you will, is hanging out there, and that there's even people who live there too is odd to me.
Why is she called Jenny of Old Stones? Do you know that?
She was from there, but there isn't a town. It's just
right. Well, maybe. Yeah. So there must be a town nearby, or did whoever gave her that nickname just meet her there?
I don't know, because we know very little of Jenny of Old Stones. I just recently reread that whole part of the World of Ice and Fire book, because that's all we know. Post Fire and Blood Volume 1, so Fire and Blood Volume 2 stuff, we have to, that era, we have to get completely out of World of Ice and Fire, and there's no detail in that freaking book. And I just did a video for Ormond Baratheon, so I read all the Sir Duncan the Small Targaryen falling in with Jenny of Old Stones, which pisses off Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm. So that whole thing, what I just said is all we know. We just know that he fell in love with her, and that they called her Jenny of Old Stones. So
maybe the Jenny of Old Stones comes from the song.
No, it's the other way around. The song's about her.
Right. No, that's what I mean.
About the tragedy.
That's what I mean. But maybe
she wasn't named yet.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe there's a part of the song that's important, the story that maybe they met. Who was it? Who was she with?
Sir Duncan, or not Sir, Prince Duncan the Small.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and he dropped
Aegon's son,
heir,
Duncan,
older son,
Duncan the Small. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Maybe they just met there.
Yeah, maybe.
Thus, that's the first verse of the song, and thus the song. It's an important line in the song, and thus is the name of the song, and then that's how. Then the song is how everybody knows about her at this point. Yeah. So that's just her name,
That's very true. Yeah, I'm not sure why I kept this or had this thought of it being a haunted castle. I maybe it's just the fact that all that's left is a tomb is really weird to me. It's
someone must have deliberately dismantled or even quarried that castle for it to be gone so quick.
Well, not quick. It was hundreds. It was hundreds of years.
Yeah, but I mean, there's that's what I mean. And if it might be in Catelyn's description of it that it was razed to the ground deliberately. It must have been. Otherwise, there'd be people still living. I mean, it'd still be a castle. So someone tore it down deliberately. It didn't just fall down.
Well, think about where it is, the Riverlands, and how many before Harren took over, and the act of House Harren taking over. The Riverlands was not the home of one family forever like anyone else, right? You don't hear about Lauren Lannister the 19th and ruling for hundreds of years, all these Lannisters. It was House Justman, all the small kings fighting over each other. Benedict Justman taking 30 years to take over the Riverlands, and then after him House Mudd, and then there's all these other houses. that I'm not remembering at the top of my head. Fishers were kings at one point, and then there's another big one that I'm not going to be able to call. But the fact that it wasn't sacred because it wasn't one ruling family, it was just mud. But also, how many times did the muds have to lose? And also, what's the best way if I'm Frank Fisher and I want to be the king? You guys want a mud? I'm just gonna rip freaking the muds castle down. Like, stop talking about the muds.
Yeah,
we killed them off. Like, the fact that they are a dead dynasty is why it's gone. I think, like, it makes sense of the fact that it's such a tumultuous area. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that
it
makes
was
sense.
probably not all done at once. You know, it was probably over hundreds of years of that almost disenfranchising House Mud. Like, the least important you think they are, the more important my new dynasty is, right? So, Lord of Dragonflies, is that a plan? I don't know what's with the Lord of Dragonflies and how he got that name, because that is really weird. I don't know, maybe Lord of the Flies, maybe, but I don't know why Duncan the Small would have Satan symbolism. I feel like that's odd. I feel like that's a stretch. I don't know why, of all characters, Sir Duncan the Small would have Beelzebub symbolism. I don't know what Beelzebub translates to, but I know, like, Lucifer is, of course, the bringer of light. But yeah, I don't know why dragonflies. I'm trying to find a reason why he would have that kind of a symbolism, but I have no clue.
I don't know.
That's something that hopefully we learn if we ever get Fire and Blood Volume 2. It's funny, like, if I had to pick between Winds and any other book, I'm picking Winds. But if I have to pick any other book, like, I want Fire and Blood Volume 2 right after, like, because I really do want to know the rest of the Targaryen dynasties and all these in the rulings of kings that are small enough for me to do character videos for. Like, I could totally cover Jaehaerys II or even Maekar, because those kings that are in the era after Volume 1, like, we know so very little about that era, and I really want Volume 2.
Counterpoint, I hope we never get it.
Oh, cool, thanks.
Because it's too much information.
Oh, yeah, you don't want us to be that happy? You masochist?
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, maybe after if he finishes the series, and this isn't an argument about, like, his time or effort or anything. Quite apart from that.
I know exactly what you're about to say. Yep, keep going.
Like, it's just like the novels are so elegant in how complex they are, and in the amount of exposition and foreshadowing, and mostly that's by not telling us information. And I appreciate what Fire and Blood does as a kind of a different kind of literary experiment, a little of the fun of that he's doing with that, and it is cool, and it is like,
and I like it. I like Volume 1,
but like, I wish he'd kept it to himself, and maybe published it maybe when the series is done. And that goes, now I feel even more strongly about, I mean, I say strongly, I don't really feel strongly, but I feel also even more so in that regard toward the World of Fire, which I refuse to read because it feels cheating.
Yeah. So I'll tell you why it's not cheating. Because because I have read it. A lot of the, like, holy shit, is he gonna really? You froze up. I don't know if you're there, but
no, I'm just sitting very still.
No, you went blurry. You went faceless man there for a second. No, like Summerhall, right? Like Tragedy at Summerhall. Holy shit. Will we ever find out? Well, guess how he handles it in the World of Ice and Fire? The Maester spilt his ink blot over it. So they wrote about it, but the whole page is blacked out. So he knows what you're saying, and he still didn't tell us. He still is keeping certain nuggets.
Right, certain nuggets, the big important things, but I think big picture, this is a small this isn't like a complaint even. This isn't, I think, big picture, like, because I regard the novels as such like a literary achievement on so many levels, like, I think that would have been like 1% pure without him publishing even Fire and Blood, at least until maybe after, you know?
Yeah, didn't like the Silmarillion came out after all of Lord of the Rings were out, right?
I mean,
so like,
yeah, pretty sure posthumously. Actually,
yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm not a Tolkien guy, but yeah, but that idea of like, well, now that now that I told my magnum opus, you guys can read my notes, right? Like, now that none of my notes are spoilers, and that's another. You make a really good point, because Volume 2 would have Summerhall in it, and would have Robert's Rebellion. And in certain things that are kept hidden from us about Robert's Rebellion, which is a lot. A lot is kept hidden, and it should be.
Right.
Like, so much of this story is about, Lyanna and Rhaegar, and we only hear one sentence about Lyanna and Rhaegar every book, and we have to piece together what the fuck happened, and we're not given like any Easter eggs, any nuggets to really eat. And yeah, then maybe you should keep those books from us. I agree. But then at the same time, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel if I didn't have World of Ice and Fire. Because so much of my shorts and videos are characters that were mentioned in 2 sentences that I like. Hey, let's talk about Guy Lawston. Who's that? Well, he's in 1 chapter in Fire and Blood, and let's talk about him because that 1 chapter is fantastic. Or not even 1 chapter, 1 paragraph. And that 1 paragraph is great.
Well, for my videos, like the theory I'm working on now, and I'm working on this 3rd part that does concern Aegon's conquest to some degree, in a way that's kind of perfect for talking about this, because it's about what Aegon's conquest not only means to us, the reader, but because of what it means to the people of Westeros, what the narrative of Aegon's conquest means for how the people of Westeros, the ruling class of Westeros, the players of the Game of Thrones, what it means to them about how the politics of Westeros work, and thus what, like, foreshadowing, what exposition we're given by knowing some of the history of how the kingdom was formed, what that tells us about how the people of that kingdom think about the politics that they are playing in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I find myself, I'm going to Fire and Blood for quotes and to expand on things to like buttress this argument, but ultimately, because it's there and it makes sense to do that, but ultimately I think I would have, well, because I know I would have come to the same, I haven't even read I've only read parts of Fire and Blood, and I came to this theory without reading it. I came to it from the novels.
Yeah.
And this way of thinking about what Aegon's conquest means to the story, just from the few little bits that are in the novels.
Yeah, yeah.
And in fact, if anything, I mostly only quote from the novels too, and not Fire and Blood. Actually, when I'm reading in Fire and Blood, for the larger, is to make sure I'm not missing some piece of context someone's gonna call me on and go, so like, you don't make a really like big this, leap,
like, oh, and then when he conquered, that's why he started with the North right away, and it's like, wait, he didn't. So like,
right.
Like those big, like, broad, yeah.
So I'm going there for the background, but when I'm actually reading or just placing, quotes for references to, what I'm talking about, it's really just the little snippets from the books, from the novels are enough. And that to me is a huge strength of them, of the novels, Absolutely. And that's just an example that I'm like working through now.
And for the most part, I agree with you. I feel like me and you, well, because we are different people. I don't know if you knew that, but me and you are actually different people. Newsflash. But our brains do work differently in what interests us, and I love your take on the novels because you're looking at it in such a different way when I'm just a gobble up of lore of like, oh, you want to tell me about Christopher whatever Aaron the Ninth, like, you know, like these weird snippets of history that mean nothing. They're interesting to me, but you're looking at it of like, okay, so what is this telling me about the literary process, and in the broadest of ways of saying it, but you're looking at it in such a more cerebral way. I really wish I had my thesaurus up, but in a I don't want to say symbolic either, but yeah, you're going into it such differently, where the weird tidbits of lore aren't as important as kind of what the message and what he's trying to say and what the greater subtext is, opposed to the you know, the cold hard non-facts that I'm really interested in. And I'm really interested in subtext as well. But my brain isn't as great at picking them up. And that's what I really love about, even though I'm not a theory guy, I love watching theory guys. I love watching your vids. And then, you know, of course, Michael talks about stuff. Yeah, I've told you, I've listened to him more than once now. I listened to him twice just because I want to hate you more. No, I'm kidding. But no, but like, it's weird that one of my closest dudes who is busy right now, so he couldn't be on here, but like, I always have Michael on here. Me and Michael about as far as you can get of how we look and talk about these books. And that's what, of course, makes this fandom so freaking special. But yeah. But to digress, I
love Michael's shit, man. I love his mind.
But my mind doesn't work like that. And that's why it is like, how did he put that together? And that's what's interesting. Where my brain, I'm just going to be like, all right, guys, we're going to talk about the last sins today. And that's how my brain works, which I know has its place, but it's not what I'm getting at is just because my brain doesn't work that way, and I don't read them for that, is why I find your guys' work so interesting, because that's...
Well, I mean, I feel the same way. Like, because for me, reading these books, like I was talking about, all these characters coming up, like pop up 4 times. I'm not catching any of that shit. I don't remember what the various houses, when they pop up. I'm not remembering the same character popping up. Like, I'm just breezing past all the names. Not really, not in the sense, because I'm an extremely slow reader, and I'm not breezing past anything, and I'm thinking about like every sentence for way too long, and then like having like tangents of just like thinking like for 10 minutes about like something. But it's not about the details of like the recurring, like, this house had the, you know, like in this other part of the book, like I have to go find that stuff to reinforce maybe something else I'm thinking about, some other theoretical analysis. Then I got to go look and go, oh, well, look at that, you know. But I'm thinking, you know, I'm not catching all the... That's why I love, you know, your character videos especially, is because I'm going like, oh, that guy comes up all those, like those 3 different times, and or is you know, talked about by somebody this time. I mean, that you know, because you'll have someone who's like mentioned, you know, by like 3 different people at different times throughout the whole series, and then you meet them once in somebody's, and you're like, oh, that guy was talked about. Like, I love but I'm not picking any shit like that up, and I'm not like ingesting, I'm not like taking in that type of detail. Is not what is coming my way.
I never ended up answering the question of who actually kills Nimble Dick. I never answered that question because we got stuck.
Nimble Dick?
Yeah, because I brought that up. I was like, does anyone remember who killed Nimble Dick? And then we like, you guys contemplated for a minute, and then we moved on.
A brave companion.
I said it's a brave companion. I didn't say which
was it. Zolo the Fat?
No, it was not. He wasn't even there. It was the 3. It was Timian and Pig and Shagwell were the 3 that went to the Whispers, and it was Shagwell. If you can remember Shagwell, he's the Shagwell's
one of the more memorable brave companions.
but he uses his 3-balled morning star. It's not a morning star. It's a 3-ball flail. He calls flails morning stars. Anyways, morning star's not a flail. He uses it to smash Nimble Dick's knees, and then as he draws with broken knees, he keeps the spin and then hits his head, and that's how he kills Nimble Dick. Is a 3-balled flail, which is absolutely horrific. Like, that is some nasty way to die, is get hit by 3 spinning spiked balls. But anyways, yeah, he's the one who does it. So if you are watching now, I gave away the answer to a quiz.
Is that where Shagwell dies?
Yeah, and then Shagwell dies right after. Yeah. And then they make him dig the graves, and then Brienne kills him. Yeah. Not like executes him, but he tries to attack Brienne and she beats him to death. In a really horrific way. Doesn't beat him to death, stabs him to death, but is stabbing his bowels with a dagger. He's screaming laugh because he's all about laughter. So she's like, laugh. Right.
Laugh. It's one of her fuck kills.
Whoa, yeah. Yep, it is definitely a fuck kill. And that's what's the symbology of as much as I don't like saying the R word, and I won't, but sexual assault is unfortunately a theory with Brienne, because she gets threatened with it by a lot of people, and it's something that she constantly deals with. And especially brave companions. So her, for lack of better words, penetration. In the bowels with a dagger is how she kills him. So there's that symbolic of her almost taking it and owning it to kill him. It's something. It's a choice. We have 2 more castles to get to.
All right, let's do it. Let's knock it out.
We're at 3 hours.
Knock it out.
Here, I got a video for me.
Simply read the cards. You're going to be wonderful, really.
Thank you, Russell. I'll get on it. I've been saying we're gonna save Nightfort for last, so let's freaking do that, and let's do Hardhome. So yes, Hardhome is not a castle, and it's not in Westeros. So deal with it. But dang, is it haunted? Hardhome was close to becoming the only true town of the north of the wall. Before its destruction, it was abruptly destroyed 6 centuries ago, so 600 years ago. Something terrible happened that night through, though the details are uncertain. The homes of the inhabitants of Hardhome are said to be burned with flames so high and hot that the Night's Watch on the wall thought that the sun was rising from the north. That is so crazy. Afterwards, ashes rained down on the haunted forest and the shivering sea for half a year. And the free folk never again settled there, which became overgrown with wilderness. Rangers roaming the north of the wall told tales of Hardhome being haunted by ghouls, demons, and burning ghosts with an unhealthy taste for blood. Whoa, burning ghosts. Fuck. He should just say fever dreams. Like, it should be, it's just haunted with nightmares. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that says it all. I guess we just we know so little.
Yeah. It sounds like a volcanic eruption. But in order for one of those, there needs to be a volcano. And we don't know of any volcanoes in the north, but that doesn't mean that there's volcanoes in Greenland, right? Like, they're not always just tropical islands in the Pacific, right? But it's weird of the way it is described is how people describe like volcanic ash raining down for 6 months, like that. But it's weird that it's just there. Who knows what? Like, that is a big speculation in the fandom is what the frick happened at Hardhome.
Well, I got something for you. Maybe it is a castle.
Ooh.
Because maybe it's Castle Bravo.
Okay.
Meaning the hydrogen bomb.
Okay, nice. I thought you meant
that was said to look. That looks like the sun rising.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
So Is this part of the theory of Westeros is actually, or Song of Ice and Fire is actually post-apocalyptic Earth? Because I've heard that.
I mean, hey, you know, it doesn't have to be Earth for someone to be fusing hydrogen together to create a
It's
sun
only
on the
Earthlings
surface.
that we know of that have done it.
Well, that's true. That's true. You're looking for that evidence again.
Yeah, the cannon, yo. Bring it on.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love how terrifying Hardhome is now. Of like, I couldn't think of more of like, you could say like, oh, it's haunted. Okay, I won't go there. By
Dead
burning ghosts that have an unhealthy taste for human flesh. Like, all right, I won't go there. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Everyone's dead. There's nothing there. Why? Like who? You know. That's all. That's reason enough not to go.
It's almost like they had to come up with the most horrific thing to make sure nobody goes there. Maybe it's fine. Like there's nothing weird, but we do know because we do have a character that goes there. Not John, as in the show, but what's it? Cotter Pike from Eastwatch by the Sea sends the craziest letter of like dead things in the water, dead things in the woods, not fun. It's like, oh my god, what's he going? We're all dead. Well, how are you? Like, holy shit! Like that Cotter Pike letter is fucking terrifying. Another David Reed's A Song of Ice and Fire chapter, the way he decides to read that is like he breaks his flow and he reads it almost like a telegram is how he so that's how I like think of it now, of just like dead things in the water, dead things in the woods, and it's like almost like this emotionalist but still scared way that he reads it. And it's like,
no, I think that's right, because it's like
so hard.
He's writing off a message for a bird, like just put the detail, quick, just facts, just list the facts, you know.
Just, we are all dying. Okay. Fuck. Yeah, you're the first person that mentioned Castle Bravo. Yeah, hey, you made Christy happy. That's good.
First. In what context?
Just at all. As it ties into the story. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know that somehow it's only the castle part's only relevant because you put it on a list of castles. So I don't think I can use that to as evidence that Martin is saying it's
and then fabled Martin collaborator Taco hinted at us that it was a castle one.
Yeah, exactly.
Not me. Ain't me. I don't think I don't know. I don't know if George would ever choose. I bet if he picked anybody to work with, I don't think he would be the crazy dude. I don't know. Am I considered a crazy guy compared to a lot of us? I think I'd fit in. I think in normal fandoms, I would be considered one of the weird ones, but there's a lot of weird ones in this fandom. So,
I mean, what's crazy, Taco? I mean,
my search history. Hello. What's up? Oh, okay. All right. All right, you wanna talk any more about Hardhome, or do you want to knock out the big granddaddy of haunted castles?
There's a more haunted one we haven't talked about?
Yeah, the most haunted one.
Which one's that?
Nightfort.
Oh.
It's the grand dude. You thought Harrenhal? Harrenhal's got what? A ghost? Look. Let's talk.
Also, not really a castle.
Hardhome? It's a fort.
The Nightfort.
Yeah. Nightfort. Nightfort's a fort, though. It's a castle on a wall.
But it's
walls.
It's none of the castles on the wall are castles.
Shut up, man. Yeah, I get you right.
No,
about
it belongs on the list. Obviously, it's only technically not a castle.
I shouldn't have named it Haunted Castles. I should have named.
No, it's a great name, Taco. It's a great name for your stream.
All right. You wanna swallow the knife for it?
Let's do it.
Only because I've been looking at this face in my pictures this whole time. So this is the, straight up living and talking weirwood that's in the basement of the Nightfort that we just like gloss over. Like, oh yeah, there's a talking weirwood face that opens its mouth and it's fully animated. Whatever. Okay. The most freaking haunted place in Westeros. It has a ton of scary stories, such as the thing that came in the night, Mad Axe, hellhounds that Simeon Star Eyes saw somehow, even though he's blind, the Rat King, and then the 79 Sentinels, and of course the Night's King in all the horrible stuff that he did with his corpse queen. Yeah, no, crazy. Oh, and there's also the giant talking weirwood face in the basement. What not to say about I would not stay in this place overnight. That's how I ended.
So the Nightfort is like, for Westeros, a traditional folk setting for spook stories.
Oh yeah,
it's
1,000,000.
It's like a genre, or it's like a it's a way to do, like, it's like a folk pastiche. Like, you can set any kind of spook story at the Nightfort.
Oh yeah,
because of its original spook story, the story of
the
Night's King.
Yeah. I do want to state, I do have an entire video, so we don't need to dig too deep. We can dig as deep as you want, but me and Michael last year did completely cover every single one of the theories from the Nightfort and
cool.
Yeah, then I got a Nightfort stream. Yeah, it's really good. Because also Michael made slides and gave them to me. so it's really cool to see, like, hey, this is what I think, and he's like, okay, you ready? Ba-bam! And then he put his stuff, and it was really cool to see, like, almost our video styles colliding in that live stream, which is really fun. Yeah, it was a really fun stream. It was actually, since Christy's in the comments, it was actually Christy who said, hey, do Nightfall. Yeah, Nightfall or Nightfort and Starfall have to have some weird connections. I mean, no, they're on the other sides of the continent. Man, I really need to hear about more about Starfall. That's the Danes, but we don't know anything about the Danes, and that's what makes the Danes so interesting. But anyways, not talking about the Danes or Danish people in general. I'm talking about yes, we break down. Let's go again. The thing that came at night, Mad Axe, Simeon Star Eyes. Just all we know about that is he once saw hellhounds fighting outside the wall, so he like witnessed hellhounds. Which again, Simeon Star Eyes was blind, and we don't know much about when he was around because he was considered a knight, even though it was way before the coming of the Andals. So I think any Simeon Star Eyes story can be like, did any of that happen at all? Like, that's some hardcore folklore. That's some King Arthur stuff where we just straight up can't agree that he was even real at this point. And then the 79 Sentinels, 79 guys, I want to say, who left the wall, deserted the wall, and then the commander put them inside the wall so they would forever watch the wall, like their frozen bodies are in it. And then the Rat King, of course, an Andal king came to the wall, and a chef there killed his family and fed it to him. And then the gods cursed him to be the Rat King, always eating his own kin. That's sick. And I want to say Mad Axe was just a dude who showed up and just killed all of his brothers with an axe, I want to say. And then I just did a short I did a bunch of spooky shorts for Halloween season. And then one of them, of course, was the thing that came at night. So it essentially it makes me think of a White Walker, but it was like four boys at the Night's Watch see this like monster, and 3 of them are killed by it or died, and then the 4th one like goes crazy, and then hundreds of years later the thing shows back up, but all four, I wanted to say they were apprentice boys. All four of the apprentice boys were with it centuries later, all like hooked together in chains. Yeah. So that's got to be some White Walker-y crap, right? Like that seems very othersy. But yeah, that's the thing that came at night. So that's my like rudimentary remembering of a lot of these stories. And I want to say almost all of them are old Nanisms too. Like I think
that's where you get almost all of that stuff.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think it's just so hard to know like what's what. It's like I do like this. I do like the idea that like it's just where you set these scary stories or like where they've come to be set. Like but some of them maybe have to do with stuff that actually happened there. But I mean, yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, the only thing we see is the extremely creepy talking tree face.
What the fuck? Yeah. There's another thing I left out. And it's something Michael has a lot of videos on the Nightfort. But the Bran throws like a rock down the well that they eventually go down, and instead of a splashing sound or a clunking sound, he hears a gulp, like something eats it. So he believes that there's just a big monster down there that eats the rock and is like, and then is able to leave, like gets away and gives them enough clearance to go down. And that's like something that freaks me out at night. Just like this big like like if I ever heard a gulp coming from a well like that I can't see, like from the shadows, just like sound, I would fucking shit myself. Like what the fuck? Like I don't need to hear that sound coming from an area I can't see, dude. Like that's terrifying. And then of course, yeah, like you said, the weirdest thing on here is the thing we do see straight up, and that is a giant talking weirwood that asks, hey, are you a brother of the Night's Watch? And they're like, yeah. And then he opens his mouth and lets them travel on. Like, that has to be one of the most magical and weirdest thing we straight up see, right? Like, that's got to be top 10 of, like, the most surreal crap that we hear about.
And because of the way he writes, like, you just have no idea what you're hearing about, you know? Like,
it's true. Is it talking? Is it a sound from somewhere else?
It does seem to be a talking face of a tree, like, and so, but what is that? Is it some kind of illusion? Is it some kind of mechanism? Is it an actual living weirwood that has some kind of, you know, magic done to it? Is this what the old gods were, and the faces carved on the trees are like attempting to
bring it back,
right, to represent that thing that is most.
But this isn't a carved weirwood. This is an old god, yo. Yeah.
I mean, that's something I lean toward, is that face was not carved. That face got there by some other means. That is older and more, and is what the carved faces are in reference to. Whether they, you know, what nobody understands that now, but that's what I think, probably. But maybe, that doesn't tell you anything about what it really is. You know, even if that's what I think. Like that, there's a time when you go back where those were the old gods. You know, to the first men who started worshiping, for first fighting them, first cutting them down and burning them. I think that's what they were looking for and killing. And then that they came to worship was those fucking weird things, the actual talking, gaping trees.
Oh
and
my
God. As those are all gone, they carve the faces in the trees
to that being
represent
said,
them. But
the first men came before this would have been here, because this is at the bottom of the wall. Right. So whoever made the wall was first men, and then they had to have transported or planted a fucking god. Like, what?
Or I mean, I think like the history that far back is all kind of meaningless, and it's
all
chronology. You know, like it's
Yep.
just complete gobbledygook. Like no one in
Yeah.
this story has any fucking idea about their
And
history.
that's why I the furthest I think I've ever gone back for my lore vids was Benedict Justman, and that video is coming out in 4 weeks. But besides that, I try not to like Age of Heroes. Like, I don't feel that fits as character lore. Like, because I don't know if that's lore. You know, like that could
Yeah.
comedy. Let's call it gobbledygook. But yeah. Like, why would I tell you guys about a character where it's like, oh, and he was a knight before knights, and he was a member of the Knights Guard or King's Guard before there was kings. What are we doing here? You know, like none of these stories add up. Cool. It is great to look at something that George does insanely well of taking tidbits of how we interpret history and lore and mythology in our own world, and then putting that in his world. He's really freaking good at that.
I have this idea that because like as I was saying earlier, like, you know, from the very beginning you get this idea that like, well, the old wives' tales are true. Is that the whole point? Is that the fun of this? But then it's like, wait, but maybe they're not. Then it's like you don't know what's what, and then eventually by the end of A Game of Thrones, you have Sam telling you, oh yeah, the chronology of history is all like nobody knows anything about it. And then later in Feast for Crows, the Blackwood kid tells Jamie the same thing about like, oh, no one knows when the Andal invasion was. Was it 2,000 years ago? Was it 4,000 years ago? No one has any fucking idea. And so you have this, you know, so nobody knows their history. I have this pet theory of mine, like I have many, that is that the chronology, the like folk, the popular history accepted, you know, 8,000 year chronology since the long night of that, you know, is sort of the thing that you popularly hear about, or that just gets, you know, referenced. I have a theory that it is complete bullshit, of course. I mean, that I think you can take for given. Like the 8,000 year number is complete nonsense.
Whatever.
It's not that old.
Sure.
It's just it's shorter and it's meaningless, but shorter is the key.
Yeah.
It's way their time. I think their time frame since whatever the long night was is way less than 8,000 years. And I have this pet theory that the whole chronology comes from the crypts of Winterfell. That at some point, some maester or somebody went down and looked at all of the crypts and did a like biblical genealogy, you know, where you go like, oh, this, and maybe, who knows, maybe they say reigned on the things, reigned for this many years or something, and did like a chronology, or that's no, it's, they make up basically. They're like, this is like, oh, this guy reigned for this long, like, or they talk to the Starks. They're like, oh, well, yeah, we have it in our house lore, like this guy reigned for this, and like, and this is how they put together the 8,000 year chronology, just like biblical scholars have done, taking the Old Testament and gotten a 4,000 year time scale.
I was wondering if you were going to this is the last thing I want to ever bring up, but like a young Earth, like, is this like your young Planetos creation theory of like, but if we follow the Starks, it's only been 2,000 years. Yeah.
Right. It is basically, well, I mean, it's the opposite for them. For them, it's the twist he's put on it is
making it longer.
It's making it longer.
So there's all the Planetos creation theory. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So because in the Bible they take all the genealogies of the Old Testament and the very long lifespans it lists, and they add them up, and you get your number, whatever. They make some shit up to get there, but in this case, they've taken the crypts of Winterfell, which the Stark lore holds that all of those statues are
ruling kings,
the lords of Winterfell, meaning there was only one at a time reigning, and thus you can add these reigns up somehow. But I think going back down to the bottom, those aren't lords of Winterfell. They're just guys. They're just the guys.
Well, yeah. How do we
Brandon
know?
the Builder was not a lord of Winterfell. He's a builder. That was like his job.
Yeah, he's not named Brandon Stark. He's only called Brandon the Builder, not Brandon Starkly. You know,
right
like,
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm that, but
which
like
also
they weren't
why...
all like. Imagine the whole first and second floor were not all like successive lords of Winterfell or kings of winter over 2,000 years, but rather they were like 100 guys who basically lived at the same time.
Well, and yeah, you're gonna look at me in the face and tell me in 8,000 years that Ned is the only guy who wanted to honor his brother and sister with statues? There's no fucking way. Like, you're gonna really say, and also, of course, the biggest thing that is hard to believe about the Starks, 100%, if you know anything about following dynasties in the real world, like 200 years of like eldest son is like an unheard of feat of like eldest son took over. Like France did it for a while, right? Where it was the eldest son became the next one, and it went for like 200 years, and everyone thought it was like the craziest hot streak of all. And it was Louis the 10th. I can't believe I know this, but it was Louis the 10th that broke it because he died without an heir, and his brother didn't want to break this like 200-year streak they had, so he didn't crown himself. They crowned Louis's unborn child, and then the child lasted like a month, like died really early, and I can't remember the name of the king, but the king has this baby, this infant, this newborn, has two like records, if you will, of being king the largest percentage of your life, which is 100% of its life, because it was born king and died king, and also the shortest reign because he was only alive for like 2 weeks. And then finally the brothers like, fine, crown me. And so I'm bringing that up to say only males reign for 8,000 years? Are you kidding me? That's impossible. Literally impossible to think that they never had to break that dynasty. That never once did they have to crown a female or crown a freaking Bolton who married a female and then they change it to the Bolton line. That just doesn't fucking happen. It's not reality. How long did... Look at the dynasties of Britain. Britain, that's not been around for 8,000 years. Haven't been around for 1,000. And they have multiple dynasties. Like you can sure go ahead and kind of say that they all come from William the Conqueror at this point. But did they? Not really. Some of them just by marriage. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, Henry VII.
You have to be believing the craziest shit if you're going to tell me that you believe that the Starks passed son or father to son unbroken for 8,000 years. Fuck off. Like, I can't believe that at all.
Exactly. And that's way. So that's my idea, is that their like house lore about this long chain and what the crypts are and what they mean. Yeah. Because it was something that was like, you know, in like an archaeological sense, like datable, like the way Egyptian history is dated, right? It's the writings on the tombs,
this guy ran for 50 years, and we write 50 years, and then we look at this guy, he ran for 30, so we know that it was 50 plus 30, now we have 70 years, and then you go on. Yeah.
So someone doing that in Westeros and publishing like, whoa, we have now a chronology of how long we've all been doing this since the Long Night, and that becomes the popular, like 1,000 years earlier from the story.
Yeah, they
becomes the popular legend of, and then they keep adding to it. So it was like, hey, guess what? The Long Night was 7,000 years ago. I can date this because I've spent the last 7 years
hanging out
going
in the
through
crypts
the
of
Winterfell crypts and their libraries and assembling this mathematical chronology, and now you all believe it.
Yeah. Well, and also, as we just read in my crypts, the lowest level is collapsed. Like, how do you know? You can't even tell me that you read them all. Because half of
How
them
do you know it is the lowest level?
Yeah, and that's it too. If the lowest levels collapse, how do you like? There's 4 more levels. You don't know. You don't know shit. Yeah, no, I really like that. And also, here's a weird thing when it comes to how long the Maesters have been doing their thing. What we know about Hardhome, we got from a Maester, 300 years ago. So Hardhome got destroyed 3 centuries ago, and there was a Maester
6, you said.
there. Oh, did I say 6? We can go back. I might have said 6. Yeah, 6. So the Maesters were doing their thing 600 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
America's been around.
What do we know about the history of the Maesters? They predate the Andals.
Yeah,
right?
they predate the Andals. The High Towers, pretty much one bloke, one High Tower family, of course, is symbolized because all ancient history gets symbolized. A bunch of kings that could be hundreds of years apart are all now brothers and sisters because we all found their bodies at the same time, and that's what. But one family was like, "Hey man, you go build the church. Hey man, you go build the Citadel. See ya." And it was like, Frank Hightower, the ugly. He actually has a real name, but like founded the Citadel. So we do know it was a Hightower way back in like the kind of the founding of Old Town, which also could predate the first man as far as we're concerned, because there is a lot of fan theories that the founders of Old Town came from the other side of Westeros, or other side of Planetos, from across the Sunset Sea, and are actually from the Great Empire of the Dawn, and they're not first men. They're because the High Tower is built on a base of, say it with me, oily black stone, right? Or
I don't know what that is. I don't read that shit.
Okay, well, read that shit sometime. But there is ancient buildings and stuff.
Is that some of that claptrap from the World of Ice and Fire? Is that what you're?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. I'll clap that trap. What's up? You don't know me. I get weird. You know that. See, here we go. So now we got.
That was an image.
Yeah, there you go. I think we could call it though if you want. We're 3.5 hours.
It's been fun.
You gotta keep sailing across the world or whatever you do with that sailboat. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta go out and put us on the next tack.
Yeah, the next attack. Oh shit! It's an around the world.
I gotta change directions.
Oh, attack. Okay.
Over.
Okay. I thought you said the next attack. I'm like, what are we? You're a raider now? I called you an explorer, not a pirate. You could be a pirate. You have all the stuff.
R.
Yeah, I'm just saying. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
I have no idea.
Favorite letter of the alphabet. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
Your guess is as good as
mine.
You
have to guess one for me to do the punchline movement. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
What is a pirate's favorite letter? I don't know.
You have to say R. That's the only way this works. Hey, Moonman, what's a pirate's favorite letter?
Cut it. You can recut this.
No, I can't. I don't know it. No, but if you're supposed to say R, Mr. Ruins jokes, and then I go, no, it's the C. So that's see, you gotta have the setup. My daughter tells jokes that need setup, and she just skips it and then just improvs. So there's the knock knock joke where you say banana, and then when they say banana too, and you just say knock knock, who's there? Banana who? Knock knock. So you get mad about banana, and then you say orange. And it's like, aren't you glad I didn't say banana? So she doesn't get that joke. So she'll just go knock, knock. And you're like, who's there? And she'll say orange. And you're like, orange who? And then she just like a grab bag of nouns. She'll go, orange and a banana and a ghost in a swing set. Nah. And it's never the same. And you have to go, you got me. Orange.
You don't have to. You can teach her a lesson and not laugh. I try to do that with you. It's not working.
No, fuck you. You can't kill my spirit, man. Now, you could
Just
just ruin
stone
her.
face.
You could just ruin her creative spirit. No, Moon Man.
Yeah, you could just stone face the child. Just be like, what? What are you trying to tell me a story?
Sometimes when I'm really mad, she'll do things, and I'll just go, "All right, cool." And she's like, "Hey, you're the nice one." Yeah, but you're freaking annoying, man. But yeah, all right, let's get out of here. I think
All right, man. Good
did
night.
pretty good.
Happy Halloween. Thanks for
Thank you
having
guys
me
for
on.
watching. Thank you, Moon Man, and everybody else who we scared away. We had 4 people at one point. Okay, couldn't hang, could they? Couldn't hang. So yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. Moon Man, thank you for showing up, and then of course, thanks for Viper for showing up for the first time, and random internet guy, I haven't seen that dude in a while, and thank you for my cat to keep making cameo appearances. So besides that, peace. Wait, do you have anything you want to plug or say? I usually
Watch
ask
the
that.
videos.
Watch the videos.
Google's free, motherfucker.
All right, peace.